bum 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 mon cœur. Iba. Oh, pineapple. Wait, is this different than... It must be. Um. Bonjour, mes amis. Tu t'entres dans mon cœur par de bonheur. Dont je connais la cause. Hi, Silver. Et lui pour moi, moi pour lui. Hi, Ben. Hi, Maddie. Da, 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 da. My snack right now is yogurt. How are you guys? Sorry it's been a while. Friday, no, not Friday. Monday, I was like really wanting to play Splatoon, and then my controller was dead, so I had to wrangle with it, and then it ended up being too late by the time I figured it all out. And Tuesday, yesterday, I went to my first library volunteer meeting. Which my infiltration plan to infiltrate the library. I'm gonna get close to the library manager and all the like other staff members, and then I'm gonna apply for a job. And they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, no, we know you. You make coffee during events and help little kids feel happy while they purchase books." I want to be a librarian! That's my current career pursuit. I think I have to take like a few librarian courses, but I think I want to be like an archivist. I wouldn't mind being like a person who set up displays in museums, but there's not very many like museums around, and also not very many school programs for it. Ad break. You do seem a librarian. Thank you. I think that is a compliment. I think it would be fun to even be like an elementary school librarian. Or a middle school one. Not high school though. Oh my god. That'd be scary. Exactly. You know that I'll put warrior cats on like hot kids books. Hi, Black Belt Shane. Black Belt Shane. It is. I hope your day is going good too. It's a really gloomy day today. Sometimes I look out the window and I see how gloomy it is, and I'm like, man, it would suck to be a warrior cat today. Speaking of warrior cats, okay, we're on chapter 30 of 37. I don't know how long they're gonna be, the chapters, but hopefully. I'm early! Oh, I'm not. Okay, I was a little early. I was like 3 minutes early. They'll love it! Hello, Laban! They'll love it just like I loved it. And I'm like really excited because the way that the like libraries are so event centered, right? Like it's meant to like create communities and opportunities for people and learning opportunities for people. So even like in the volunteer things, basically it's like every single event that they have, you can go help. So it gives me an excuse to go out and watch things that maybe I wouldn't have otherwise. So I'm excited about that. What am I doing today? Today we're reading Warrior Cats. So it's a very chill day if you want to do some chores or hang out or take a nap or just game. Today's a good stream to do so. Okay, I finished my yogurt. Whenever I have yogurt, I feel like I'm being really healthy. Like, wow, I'm so responsible. I'm so responsible eating a yogurt. Taking care of my health. And I also have cookies, which is my dessert. Those probiotics, yeah! Did you hear me burp? I think that was the first burp I've ever had on stream. So, speaking of warrior cats and books, we're going to read Warrior Cats. Been a while, madame. Hi, Fenry. Hello, how are you? I tried Chobani protein yogurt drink and the... Is it yummy? I found this like heifer drink that like literally just tastes like yogurt. It's so yummy, and you know it's like doing something. Makes me farty. Your boy has a new job. Congrats! Is it good? Is it paying good? Is it fun? So for... Nice. Haven't gone to training yet. I hope it's good though. I hope it's good too. I hope that you have fun and your coworkers are nice. And your boss is kind and has compassion. Cookie. Sometimes, honestly, the job can suck, but if you're surrounded by people and you have a nice boss, it's okay. Can make the best out of it. Okay. So, Warrior Cats. Previously on Warrior Cats. Hi, Corrado. Good day. So Moth Flight had her babies. They're like 2 moons old. She's trying to get back into being a medicine cat. She had a dream about her dead mate Micah. And he was like, oh, someone's gonna come to you and they need help. And it turns out that it's Acorn Fur, the new medicine cat of Sky Clan, and she needs help being trained. This is pretty difficult because Wind Clan and Sky Clan are not on good terms. They have that whole kind of made up war that honestly I think Willow, whatever her name is basically creating herself. So Wind Clan is like, we don't need to you shouldn't have to associate with Acorn Fur, and Acorn Fur doesn't even want to mention it to Clear Sky because she knows what he's gonna do. So they kind of like train in secret for a while. Then if I remember correctly, all of a sudden she doesn't show up. No. Right? Did that come first? Acorn Fur didn't show up. I think so. Acorn Fur didn't show up, so Moth Flight went to the border and was like, hey, where's Acorn Fur? Yeah, and then another, it was Sparrow Fur? And Sparrow was like, yeah, Clear Sky's forbidding Acorn Fur from going over. Thank you for the like, Fenry. Sparrow was like, yeah, so she's not allowed anymore, and Mothflight was like, well, this is stupid. It's always so stupid. Why is everyone so stupid? But she reluctantly has to agree. Then there's the gathering. They go to the gathering. Sky Clan hasn't shown up. The rest of the clans are like, well, if they're treating us like we're, like they don't want to associate with us, then why should we think of them as part of the clans? And they're like, yeah. And then Sparrow, I think, runs in again and is like, we need help. We need the medicine cats. Tree Branch is hurt. He needs help. And then there's like this hesitance and they're like, why should we send them? Like, why? What have they done for us? You're like, what's Clear Sky like? Clear Sky doesn't deserve it. And then the medicine cats kind of argue, and they're like, just let us go. And so then they go, and then they arrive, and then they can't save Tree Branch. He dies. Clear Sky's mortified. They kind of have this brief conversation where the idea that perhaps if Windrunner had let them go fast enough, like faster, there was no hesitance, then Tree Branch could have potentially survived in some strange world. And so they're kind of like, not even like worse terms. And then in Wind Clan, Slate gets sick with red cough. She's coughing up blood. They know that the cure for red cough, or like the medicine for red cough, is this tree bark or tree sap that is growing on Sky Clan territory. Mothflight is like, we're gonna go get it. Doesn't matter. Thanks, Nearlinks. And she and someone else. She and Spotted Fur go to Sky Clan territory to try and get bark, and they get the bark, and they're almost across the border. They almost make it, and then they get stopped by Alder, I think, and someone else, and they're like, "What are you doing here?" And he's like, "We just needed the spark." And he's like, "Well, you're not allowed on here. Why should we share anything with you?" And then they're like, "Please, this cat's really sick. We need to use the sap." And they're like, "You know what? We're taking you to Clear Sky. Clear Sky can decide what to do." And then they go to camp, and Clear Sky's like, "You know what? I don't appreciate what Windrunner did. So, you guys are gonna be captured, held captive here." He didn't say it like that. "How about you guys..." It's like, how about you guys stay here a while until Windrunner comes and apologizes. And what else does he want? "You will simply be our guest until Windrunner comes." She won't come here. She must. She's accused us of stealing prey, and she has stolen prey herself. Yeah, so they want her to apologize and admit for stealing prey or something. And that's where we ended, with them being held captive. Held as guests in SkyClan territory. I'm gonna finish my cookie really quick. Willow is like so weird. Like, why is she so obsessed? She's like squatting at the border waiting. Hold on. My roommate needed toilet paper, but I missed the message. No, that's me, no. How did you get to look like this? It was a design that was made to come to life. An artist made her, and now I am moving. Okay, let us begin. Chapter 30. As usual, I'll be slow to reply. Sit back, relax, enjoy the ride. Chapter 30. "What do we do now?" Spotted Fur paced the den. "We can't stay here." Mothflight stared angrily from the entrance. The tiny cave, hollowed from the bramble close to Clear Sky's den, still carried the stale scent of starflower. Clear Sky's mate must have slept here at one time. Her ragged nest looked as though it hadn't been used in moons. It would probably crumble into dust if any cat climbed into it. Mothflight thought of her own nest at home. She could almost smell its heathery scent and the warmth of her kits rising from its thick moss lining. Anxiety twisted her heart. And what about Slate? She needed the bark. We have to escape. How? Spotted Fur jerked his muzzle towards Alder, who sat as still as a rock a few tail lengths from the entrance. We could burrow through the back, Mothlight suggested. Spotted Fur grunted, glancing at the prickly stems, so thickly woven that no light filtered through. If we had paws made of wood. Mothlight whisked her tail crossly. Why do clan leaders make life so difficult? Spotted Fur blinked at her. Who knows? Mothlight tipped her head. Do you think Willowtail has been stirring up trouble? She asked. Slate and Jagged Peak have seen the bones too. Spotted Fur shrugged. But she is usually the first one to make the accusations, he frowned. And she's the only one who's actually seen SkyClan eating prey. If she is really as bad as Clear Sky says, she could have planted the bones. Planted the bones? It seemed crazy to Mothflight. She crouched and drew her paws tightly under her. Doesn't she realize that she might cause a battle? Perhaps that's what she wants. Spotted Fur stared at her grimly. No! Mothlight refused to believe it. Why would any cat want to cause suffering? Spotted Fur didn't answer. His gaze flickered back towards Alder. The gray and white she-cat still hadn't moved. Even SkyClan cats have to eat, surely. If she goes, another cat will take her place. Mothlight wondered how long they'd have to be here. The sun glimmered through the distant branches, low enough to show through the den entrance. Her kits would start wondering where she was, yearning, tugging in her belly, as sharp as hunger. Yearning tugged in her belly, as sharp as hunger. Do you think Willowtail has realized we're not coming back? She's probably on her way to camp now. Mothflight stiffened. I hope not. How would Windrunner react to news that her daughter had gone missing in SkyClan territory? What if she sends a patrol looking for us? Isn't that what Clear Sky wants? He wants her to apologize. Mothflight stared at him, dread worming beneath her pout. Doesn't he know Windrunner at all? She remembered her mother's warning. You may think I'm wrong, but never dare to question me again. She was far too stubborn to ever apologize to Clear Sky. Spotted Fur's ears twitched. Do you think she'll fight him? Of course she'll fight him! But she says she wants peace between the clans. Not enough to admit she was wrong. We need to get to her before Willowtail does. We can explain why Clear Sky was so mad. Spotted Fur began pacing again. Perhaps I can distract Alder and you can make a run for it? Or you could distract Alder and I could make a run? Paw Steps cut him off. He jerked his muzzle towards the entrance. Mothflight followed his gaze, her heart quickening as she saw Acorn Fur approach Alder. The SkyClan medicine cat held dripping moss between her jaws. She dipped her head to Alder, who nodded towards the den. Thanks, StarClan, you're here! Mothflight hurried to meet Acorn Fur as she padded inside. The chestnut-brown she-cat dropped the wet moss on the ground and blinked anxiously at Mothflight. Are you okay? We're fine, Mothflight assured her. But we've got to get back to camp before Willowtail. Spotted Fur crouched to lick tastily at the moss. If she tells Windrunner we're missing, he told her between laps, in SkyClan territory, we're worried it'll start a war. We have to get out of here. Mothflight stared at her urgently. Acorn Fur backed away. I can't help you escape. She glanced at Alder, lowering her voice. They're my clanmates. I can't betray them. Spotted Fur narrowed his eyes. We only need to get past Alder. Mothflight nodded. I can pretend I'm ill and you can fetch Alder, and Spotted Fur can slip out while she's... No! Acorn Fur looked stricken. I want to help, but when Alder sees you're okay and Spotted Fur's gone, she'll think I tricked you. She'll think I tricked you, Mothflight interrupted. Acorn Fur stiffened. She knows that you trained me. She'll suspect me. Every cat will suspect me. How can I heal my clanmates if they stop trusting me? Spotted Fur glanced at Mothflight. She's right. We can't ask her to betray her clan. Mothflight's thoughts flashed to her kits. They'd be terrified if Willowtail raced into camp telling everyone that she and Spotted Fur had gone missing in SkyClan territory. Her heart began to pound. You could fetch the others! She blinked at Acorn Fur. The others? The other medicine cats, Mothflight explained. Bring them here. They can reason with Clear Sky. Acorn Fur tipped her head. It might work. Spotted Fur shrugged. It's worth trying. How do they think that Acorn Fur is gonna be able to gather the other medicine cats before Willowtail goes home? Willowtail's probably there for like 20 minutes and then was like, oh, war's gonna start. Like, she's not especially waiting that long. She wants any reason to go back. Go now! Mothflight nosed Acorn Fur towards the entrance. She lowered her voice as Alder turned, ears pricking. Run as fast as you can! Take care, Spotted Fur murmured under his breath as Acorn Fur trotted past Alder and disappeared down the slope. It's One Piece paste. Mothflight blinked at him. Do you think she'll bring them in time? Spotted Fur's tail twitched. Even if she could, I'm not sure Clear Sky will listen to the medicine cats. He has to! Mothflight began pacing again. Too much was at stake. Slate needed the bark, her kits needed to know she was safe, and Windrunner. She flinched from the thought. What if the Wind Clan leader chose war? No cat should live like prey. Mothflight. Spotted Fur's mew was soft in her ear. She met his gaze, surprised to see warmth there. What? I just wanted to tell you how sorry I am. Sorry? She didn't understand. About Micah, he murmured. About him dying. I know I was jealous when you brought him back from High Stones with you. I always thought I'd be your mate. Mothflight shifted her paws uneasily. This probably isn't the best time. Spotted Fur told her quickly, but it's so hard to get you alone these days. You're either with your kits or busy with your medicine cat duties. I just wanted you to know that I understand how much you loved Micah, and I'm glad you got to spend time with him before he died. And the kits. His mew trailed away. Mothflight saw sadness in his gaze. Thank you, she mumbled self-consciously. I'm sorry I hurt you too, but I had to follow my heart. And I must follow mine. His gaze lingered on her, glowing. Not a good time to do that, bro. He still loves me. Mothflight looked away. You're a good friend, Spotted Fur. And the kids love you, but... A shriek ripped through the trees. Mothflight raced to the den entrance. Alder was leaping into the hollow, her pelt bushed, as the forest rang with the yowls of battle. Wind Clan! Mothflight's heart lurched. They're attacking the camp! Well, see. Oh, hi, Emma! Sorry, I was reading. I can't reply while I'm reading. I use VTube Studio. VTube Studio. For face tracking. Gosh, I'm putting retinol on my face again. And when you first start putting retinol on your face, your skin starts to peel away. And my skin's peeling away on my nose. And when I'm looking forward, I can see like bits of the peeled skin. And I like want to like rub it away because it's like, you know, it's like as if something's in my vision. But I can't because it's peeled skin. Chapter 31. Spotted Fur beat her out of the den. Mothflight hared after him, skidding to a halt at the top of the hollow. Pelts swarmed from the bramble barrier. Windrunner was leading the charge, Willowtail and Gorsefur at her heels. Behind them raced Dustmuzzle, Fernleaf, Swift Minnow, Holly, and Stormpelt. Jagged Peak trailed at the rear, his lame hind leg slowing him down. Starflower yowled, her eyes blazing, and dragged her kits Dew-Petal and Flowerfoot beneath a yew at the edge of the clearing. She crouched in front of them, eyes slitted, a low growl rumbling in her throat. What did you think was gonna happen, Clear Sky? That she was gonna come in and apologize? Like come in and be like, hello, guys. You have her daughter with you. And then Willowtail's the only one who saw them. I mean, I guess he didn't know the Willowtail part, but like, come on, dude. SkyClan cats streamed from their dens and met the invaders with outstretched claws. Windrunner crashed into Nettle, and they fell, squirming like snakes onto the ground. Swiftminnow's gray and white pelt flashed beneath Sparrowfur's as the tortoiseshell knocked the she-cat's paws from under her and leaped onto her back. Blossom jumped from the roots of an oak. She landed on Dustmuzzle's back and sank her jaws into his neck. Yes, it does look like it has bunny ears. Mothflight flinched. Dustmuzzle! The yowl of battle swept away her panicked cry. Fernleaf shouldered her way through the battling cats and attacked Birch with a flurry of blows, while behind her, Quickwater leaped at Holly as she crossed the hollow. Mothflight heard a yowl of rage behind her and turned to see Clearsky racing for the clearing. Fury glittered in his eyes. Flattening his ears, he leaped from the short, steep slope and hurled himself at Spotted Fur. Mothflight felt panic rising. Stop! Her wail was lost in the shriek of battle. You mustn't fight! Pale Tabby Fur caught her eye. Windtail had halted beside the barrier and was watching Redclaw through slitted eyes. The glossy red Tom was fending off Gorsefur with strong forepaw swipes. Look out! Mothflight saw Aldous streak towards Willowtail. The pale Tabby whipped around and lifted her paws as the SkyClan she-cat slammed into her. Staggering for a moment, Willowtail kept her balance and hooked her claws onto Alder's pelt. With a hiss of fury, she hauled Alder onto her belly. The tang of blood touched Mothflight's nose. Her heart seemed to burst in her chest. Windrunner, stop! Clearsky only wanted to talk! Windrunner held Nettle down, raking his belly with her hind claws. She didn't even look up. Mothflight felt as though she was in a dream, unable to make herself heard. Thorn slid from the ferns crowding the other side of the hollow. His blue gaze narrowed on Fernleaf. The WindClan she-cat was pinned to the ground by Birch. Her hind legs churned desperately as she fought to loosen Birch's grip. Thorn dropped into an attack crouch and showed his teeth. That's not fair! Mothflight leaped from the top of the slope, landing heavily on the soft earth of the hollow. She had to help Fernleaf. She dodged out of the way as Swiftminnow and Sparrowfur rolled towards her. Fernleaf! Rearing, she strained to see over the jumble of pelts. She was too late. Thorn was on Fernleaf's back, his hind legs scraping lumps from the young she-cat's pelt while Birch aimed vicious blows at her muzzle. Oh, dang. Thank you, Joey! She froze. What do I do? A medicine cat was meant to heal, not harm, but she couldn't watch while her clanmate was attacked. Suddenly, Grey Fur flashed beside Thorn. Dustmuzzle! Mothflight watched her brother plunge towards Thorn and rip him away from Fernleaf. Fernleaf's eyes flashed with triumph as, freed, she reared and slashed Birch's nose. Blood sprayed the ground. The tang grew stronger, bathing Mothflight's tongue. I'm gonna need supplies. She stared around the camp. Where's Acorn Fur's dead? Why had she sent the SkyClan medicine cat away? She'd never manage all these injuries alone. Cobwebs. The thought flashed in her mind. If she could gather enough to staunch any bleeding, it would do until she had time to tend to the wounds properly. She slid between Blossom and Redclaw and scrambled out of the hollow. Hurrying among the trees, she scanned their trunks for cobwebs. Her heart leaped as she saw the roots of an elm swathed in a gray mist of web. She scraped it away, wiping as much around her paw as she could, and turned back towards the hollow. What are you doing? Blossom faced her, eyes glittering with rage. Mothflight bristled. I'm trying to help. Help who? Blossom patted closer. Any cat who's injured. Mothflight lifted her paw to show the cobweb. This will stop bleeding. You're wasting your time, Blossom snarled. We're gonna make WindClan bleed so badly, all the cobwebs in the forest won't save you. Mothflight blinked at her. Can't you just stop fighting and talk? You invaded our camp! Blossom patted closer, a menacing gleam in her eyes. I'm not fighting you. Mothflight lifted her chin. I'm a medicine cat. It's my duty to heal. Get out of my way so I can get on with it. Blossom showed her teeth. You have to fight. Mothflight held her ground. No, I don't. Blossom reared and slashed a paw across Mothflight's muzzle. Pain sliced through her. StarClan, what do I do? Rage pulsed beneath her pelt. Her claws itched to rip the fur from Blossom's spine. She narrowed her eyes as Blossom lifted her paw again. Gray fur flashed behind the SkyClan she-cat. Jagged Peak! The lame Tom flung himself at Blossom, snarling viciously. Blossom gasped as she sunk claws into her shoulder. As he sunk claws into her shoulder and hooked her hind paws from under her with a sharp kick. Mothflight blinked gratefully at her clanmate as he pinned Blossom to the earth. She started for the hollow. Don't hurt her! Don't hurt her, she hissed as she passed him. Surprise flashed in his eyes. This is a battle, not a gathering, he called after her as she leaped into the clearing. Fernleaf was staggering at the far edge, blood welling from a gash on her flank. Birch was backed against the ferns, flailing at Dust's muzzle as the Wind Clan Tom swiped at him with vicious blows. Mothflight skirted the battle and skidded to a halt beside Fernleaf. The black she-cat was panting, her eyes clouded with pain. Mothflight unwrapped the swath of cobweb from her paw and patted the open wound. Fernleaf winced, but didn't flinch. This will stop the bleeding, she told her. Good. Fernleaf leaped to her paws. You can't fight again! Mothflight blocked her way. You must rest or it'll start bleeding again. Fernleaf met her gaze. If one of my clanmates dies while I'm resting, I'll never forgive myself. Mothflight stared at her wordlessly. Fernleaf snatched her gaze away and fell in beside Dust's muzzle. The two cats reared together, sending well-aimed blows at Birch's nose until the SkyClan Tom backed deep into the ferns. Mothflight scanned the battle for more injuries. Nettle staggered beside Redclaw, who was wrestling with Gorsefur. Swift Minnow struggled beneath Sparrowfur, her whiskers dripping with blood. Let her go! Mothflight shrieked at Sparrowfur as the tortoiseshell pressed Swift Minnow's muzzle into the earth. She's hurt! Claws hooked Mothflight's scruff and jerked her backwards. Gasping, she struggled. A deep-throated snarl sounded in her ear. Redclaw, if you don't want to fight, get out of the battle. Get off! She thrashed helplessly. I need to help! Redclaw let go and she turned on him. You have to stop them from fighting, she wailed. This won't solve anything. Really? Sneering, Redclaw pushed past her and grabbed Holly, dragging her from Quickwater's back. He hurled the black she-cat to the ground, then he reared and slammed his paws into her chest. Rage surged through Mothflight. This is rabbit-brained. Suddenly Windrunner's tabby pelt flashed at the edge of her vision. The Wind Clan leader was racing towards Clear Sky. Stop! Mothflight chased after her, skidding to a halt as Windrunner leaped at the SkyClan leader. Clear Sky turned as quick as a fox, lashing out with a forepaw. He slashed Windrunner's neck. Blood sprayed the clearing. Windrunner staggered, her eyes rounding with shock. Mothflight raced towards her, her heart in her throat. Windrunner batted her away, her gaze fixed on Clear Sky. Blood welled at her throat and dripped from her fur. You went too far this time. Her mew was husky with pain. You took my kit hostage. And you let my kit die. Clear Sky glared back at her. Mothflight came, didn't she? She snarled at the SkyClan leader. Not soon enough. Clear Sky flew at her, his blue eyes cold with fury. He threw another blow at her, cracking her cheek with such force that she staggered and fell. Leaping on top of her, he pinned her to the ground and raked her belly with powerful hind claws. Horror surged beneath Mothflight's pelt. She unsheathed her claws, rage burning in them. Her thoughts whirled. She was meant to heal, but she couldn't watch Clear Sky hurt her mother. Windrunner twisted, knocking Clear Sky's hind paws clear. She leaped up and raked his muzzle with a powerful blow. Blood glistened on his nose as he raised his gaze to meet hers. How dare you attack my camp? My kits are here! He glanced towards the ewe, where frightened eyes peered out behind Starflower. Are you determined to kill them all? Rage lit up Windrunner's eyes. You started this! Snaking beneath his belly, she pushed hard against his chest and heaved him onto his side. He hit the ground with a thump, and she lunged for his throat. Her jaws snapped in air as he rolled out of the way just in time. Leaping to his paws, Clear Sky reared. Windrunner lifted her forepaw to meet his, but he was quicker and threw a blow at her cheek. She lurched backwards, unbalanced. Her hind paw slid over a root. It snagged her and she fell, her leg twisting beneath her. Mothflight heard a crack and froze with horror. She'd eaten enough prey to recognize the snap of a breaking bone. Her mother's leg bone had broken. Windrunner! She raced to her mother's side. Windrunner groaned, her eyes rolling with agony. At the sound of her groan, Dustmuzzle and Gorsefur glanced over from the far side of the clearing. They were driving Nettle backwards towards a birch trunk. As their attention slipped, the SkyClan Tom lashed out. He lunged low and clamped his jaws around Gorsefur's paw. Dustmuzzle's gaze darted away from Windrunner and he sliced his claws across Nettle's ears. Mothflight jerked her muzzle fearfully towards Clear Sky. Was he gonna attack again? He stood as still as stone and watched the WindClan leader coldly. Then his blue gaze flitted across the writhing pelts and rested on Willowtail. Windrunner gasped, trying to move, and fell back. Mothflight dragged her gaze from Clear Sky and looked into her mother's eyes. Was that fear she glimpsed? Fresh blood was still welling at Windrunner's neck, and her hind legs stuck out at an ugly angle. Mothflight's chest tightened. She'd never seen her mother afraid before. You're gonna be okay. Forcing herself to think, she remembered the cobwebs on her paws. Quickly, she unwrapped a long strip and wadded it into the deep scratch at her mother's throat. Then she ran a paw along Windrunner's leg. The WindClan leader flinched. I'll be gentle, Mothflight promised. She could feel the break. Her breath quickened as she felt a jagged edge pressing inside the flesh. The bone was bent like a broken twig. Alarm shrilled through her. Could a bone heal like a gashed flesh? A gashed flesh? She remembered Cloudspot showing her comfrey all those moons ago. I've heard it even helps broken limbs to heal, though I've not had to try it yet, thanks Starkland. She closed her eyes and prayed he was right. A screech sounded behind her. Mothflight spun, her breath stopping in her throat as she saw Clear Sky back away from Willowtail, his eyes bright with shock. Willowtail staggered, a wail rolling deep from her belly as she swung her head around. Mothflight gagged. Long gashes streaked the she-cat's face. Blood streamed from the slashes her eyes and dripped from her whiskers. Willowtail moaned as her paws buckled beneath her. She collapsed onto the ground and stared blankly ahead. Why does he do that? Clear Sky always does things and then he backs away like, oh bro, what did I just do? As if he's innocent in this. He's like, oh man, this is scary. What happened? I didn't mean to do it. I didn't mean to do it that hard. I didn't think that she would run into it. All right, dude. I didn't mean to kill her. Happens like 3 times. I'm not playing any game. I'm reading a book. Mothflight's paws trembled. He's blinded her. She gaped at Clear Sky. Around him, the battling cats slowed, letting their paws drop as they turned to look at Willowtail. Clear Sky moved away, his pelt rippling along his spine. He lifted his muzzle towards Redclaw at the edge of the clearing. She's yours now, he growled softly. Do what you like with her. Willowtail dragged himself feebly across the earth while the clan cats backed away from her, their shocked gazes darting away. Redclaw unhooked his claw from Swift Minnow's pelt and padded slowly towards the blinded cat. Her nose twitched. Whimpering, she tried to crawl away, her head jerking one way, then the other, as though she were chasing glimpses of light. Redclaw stopped beside her.
Why did you have to lie?
Windtail froze. Don't you know? Her mew cracked desperately. But why did you have to drag the clans into it? Redclaw's eyes brimmed with grief. It was never their argument. It was the only way I could punish you. Windtail's pelt rippled along her spine. You killed my friend. Redclaw bristled. I didn't kill her. The dogs killed her. And who led the dogs into our camp? Willowtail rasped. Do you think I did it on purpose? Of course you did. You lured them there. They were chasing me. Redclaw crouched close beside Willowtail. He was shaking, his mew cracking as he spoke. I was young and dumb. I ran into a pack of dogs, and when they started chasing me, I ran back to the one place I'd always felt safe. I thought if I got there, nothing could hurt me. It wasn't until the dogs attacked that I realized what I'd done. You ran away, Willowtail accused. You left us to die. There was nothing else I could do. Redclaw's shoulders drooped. I'm so ashamed. I've been trying to pretend it never happened. But it did happen! Redclaw hung his head. I'm sorry, Willowtail. His mew was thick. If there was anything I could have done to change it, I would have. Windrunner lifted her head and gazed at him. Was Willowtail lying about the stolen prey? Yes. Willowtail rested her chin on the ground, her eyes red with blood. I killed rabbits and dragged them across the border, then told you I'd seen SkyClan hunting on the moor. Clearsky's gaze flickered sharply towards the WindClan leader. You believed a rogue over me! Windrunner growled from where she lay, pain tightening her words. She's my clanmate. Clearsky didn't move. And you are always loyal to your clan. Windrunner didn't flinch. Aren't you? Clearsky looked away. Mothfight felt a surge of pride. Despite Windrunner's terrible pain, she'd silenced Clearsky. Of course he'd be loyal to his clanmates. If Willowtail had been a SkyClan cat instead of a WindClan cat, he'd have stood by her too. Mothfight looked back at Willowtail, her heart twisting with pity. The pale tabby flanks were quivering. Her ears were flat. A low moan crackled in her throat. She's in shock. Mothfight scanned the edges of the hollow, hoping to see time sprouting between the roots of the brambles. There was none. She scrambled towards Willowtail and swept her tail along the tabby's spine. It's okay, she murmured. We'll get you back to camp and take care of you. Willowtail began to shiver, her matted fur spiking. She turned her gashed eyes towards Mothflight. Will I see again? I don't know, Mothflight whispered. Helplessness gripped her. She glanced around the watching cats. All she could see were wounds, scratched muzzles, torn pelts, ripped ears, blood and fur speckled the clearing. Fury rose in her chest. You fought for nothing, she glared at Clearsky. Why didn't you let me go home? I could have spoken to Windrunner. I could have told her what you had said about Willowtail and Redclaw. You could have settled this with words. Clearsky narrowed his eyes. I didn't ask Windrunner to attack my camp. Mothflight hesitated. If only Windrunner had sent a patrol to search for her, not to start a war. You need to make peace. She got to her paws and stood between her mother and Clearsky. Looking from one to the other, she growled. This must end here. Clearsky's gaze lingered on for a moment. Then he dipped his head. It was a dumb fight, he conceded. Windrunner took a shuddering breath. It was never our battle, she rasped. Paw steps thrummed the forest floor beyond the camp barrier. The brambles shivered as Acorn Fur hurled in. She skidded to a halt, her eyes widening as she saw the battle-scarred cats. Pebbleheart raced behind her, cloud spots and dappled pelt on his tail. They stared. Dappled pelt's gaze shot towards Willowtail. Pebbleheart hurried over to Windrunner. He sniffed her pelt, peering at the gash in her neck before running a paw along her flank. Her leg is broken, Mothlight told him anxiously. She looked towards Cloudspots and Dapplepelt. We have to help the injured. She blinked at Acorn Fur. I'm gonna need herbs from your herb store. Let's go. Dapplepelt was already climbing the steep bank. Acorn Fur ran after her. Cloudspots whisked his tail.
I'll gather fresh dock and marigold.
He ducked out of camp. Gorsefur hurried across the clearing, his anxious gaze fixed on Windrunner.
Is she okay?
She's broken her leg. Mothlight told him. Broken it? Gorsefur's gaze darkened. Will it heal? Pebbleheart answered for her. Yes, if we wrap it with comfrey. He leaped over Windrunner and began tugging tough shoots that sprouted from the base of the oak. But first we need to make a support for it. Gorsefur hurried to help. The bones are twisted out of line. Mothlight felt sick as she remembered the jagged shape beneath her mother's flesh. We can straighten it. Pebbleheart snapped the stiff shoot from the trunk. He showed it to Gorsefur. We need more like these, he ordered. Gorsefur nodded and hopped over the roots, his eyes scanning the bark. Mothlight glanced at Willowtail. What can we do to help her? She mewed desperately. Pebbleheart's gaze darkened as he saw the she-cat. She looked like fresh prey, crumpled on the ground, blood soaking into the earth around her. I think it's too late, he whispered. Redclaw dropped beside Willowtail, his eyes wide with horror. Pebbleheart padded to the tabby's side. He pressed his ear to her flank. Lifting his head slowly, he shook it, his gaze grim. She's dead. Oh. Well then. New babies. Hi, Sizzle. Mitochondria. Hey, Emac. We're reading Warrior Cat. Swiftminnow limped closer, her eyes glistening with grief. Jagged Peak glared at clear sky. Windrunner caught the lame Tom's eyes.
What's done is done, she croaked. All we can do now is bury her.
Windrunner in her head is like, phew! That liar's out of here. I didn't even have to tell her to leave the clan. Whew. Close one. Dapplepelt appeared at the top of the slope, a wad of leaves in her jaws. Acorn Fur leaped past her, carrying cobwebs. The brambles rattled as Cloudspots returned with Marigold, Dock, and Time. ThunderClan Medicine Cat glanced quickly around the hollow. As he narrowed his eyes, Mothlight realized he was assessing the injuries. Friendleaf's got a nasty gash in her flank, she told him. Cloudspots headed towards the black she-cat. Acorn Fur weaved between Blossom and Swiftminnow, checking for wounds. Dapplepelt padded to where Nettles swayed beside the birch tree. Within moments, the 3 medicine cats were treating the injured, crouching to chew poultices, wrapping bloody paws to cobwebs, lapping sap into scratches. Fur brushed Mothlight's flank. Gorsefur was standing beside her, a bundle of oak shoots between his jaws. He dropped them and crouched beside Windrunner.
Mothflat, I'll have you well in no time,
he promised softly. Pebbleheart jumped down the slope and laid a wad of lush leaves at Mothlight's paws. I found comfrey. He glanced at Windrunner. You're gonna need something to bite on. He picked the thickest shoot from the pile Gorsefer had dropped and slid it between her jaws. Unable to speak, she blinked at him questioningly. We have to straighten the bone before we can wrap it. He reached towards the clump of straggling grass and tugged out a few tough strands. Then he nodded to Mothflight. Put your paws at the top of her leg and, when I give the signal, press down. Mothflight obeyed, resting her pads on Windrunner's fur. Heat pulsed from her injured leg. Pebbleheart gripped Mothflight's hind paw between his jaws. Flicking his gaze towards Mothflight, he gave a tiny nod. Then he tugged. As Mothflight pressed down, she felt the bone move and heard the stick crunch between her mother's jaws. An agonized groan sounded deep in Windrunner's throat. Stiffening, Mothflight jerked around and lapped her mother's cheek fiercely. It's over now, she soothed, suddenly feeling more like a mother than a kid. Gorsefer was staring at her, his eyes round with horror. You hurt her! We had to. Pebbleheart let go of Windrunner's leg and ran his paw over the break. He blinked at Mothflight. What do you think? Mothflight was trembling. She reached out a paw and ran it nervously over her mother's fur. The jagged lump had gone. You straightened it. Relief rushed over her. She purred at Gorsefer. Hopefully it can mend properly now. We have to wrap it so it can heal. Pebbleheart hooked up 2 of the shoots and laid them either side of Windrunner's leg. He laid several more above and below, then he wrapped comfrey thickly around them. Mothflight realized what he was doing and grabbed one of the tough stems of grass. Setting it under her mother's leg, she wound it around the comfrey and the shoots, like bundling soaked nettles. Before long, Windrunner's leg was tightly encased in comfrey, held straight by the shoots. Mothflight blinked at Windrunner. How does it feel? Windrunner stared at her, pain showing in her eyes. Not bad, she lied. I've got poppy seeds back in my den, Mothflight told her. They'll help with the pain. She suddenly remembered her kits. Who's looking after them? Were they okay? They'd be frightened, wondering where she was. Her heart lurched. She'd been so caught up with the battle and the wounded she hadn't even thought about them. Guilt washed over her. Mothflight? Pebbleheart was staring at her, frowning. Had he seen her gaze darken? What's the matter? My kids! She whispered urgently. I don't know who's looking after them. Pebbleheart blinked sympathetically. We can manage here. He nodded towards Dapple, Pelt, Cloudspots, and Acorn Fur, who were still tending to the injured cats. Go home to your kits. I won't leave Windrunner's side until she's safely back in camp. Mothflight stared at him, her emotions whirling. Could she really abandon her mother and her clanmates? Go, Pebbleheart urged, while your thoughts are with your kits. You'll be of little use here. She backed away, a chill sweeping over her. Was that true? She shook out her fur. Who cares? Right now, Honey Pelt, Spider Paw, Bubbling Stream, and Blue Whisker might be wailing for her. Turning away, she hurried out of the SkyClan camp and headed to the moor. Chapter 32, baby. Mothflight stirred in her sleep, dreaming. She blinked open her eyes into a vision of the moorside. A flame-pelted Tom stood below a starless sky. Mothflight recognized him at once. She dreamed of his meeting with StarClan while she'd been with ShadowClan. A brown and white tabby she-cat lay on the wind-rippled grass beside him, so still that Mothflight wondered if she was dead. A third cat twitched her ears, scanning the mists that swirled around them. Firestar! Mothflight padded closer. She knew that the other cats could not see or hear her. I'm here to watch. The brown and white tabby sneezed suddenly and scrambled to her paws. She glanced at the flame-pelted Tom, as though looking for reassurance. He rested his tail tip on her shoulder, and, as he did so, a gray and white Tom patted from the mist, droplets sparkling on his pelt like stars. Is this a spirit cat? Who's he with? Cinderpelt? The gray and white cat exchanged words with the flame pelter Tom. Mothlight didn't even strain to hear. She knew she'd pick up nothing but the whispering of wind in her ears. Then the spirit cat touched the nose to the tabbies. The she-cat jerked with pain. Wait, who is he with? Mothlight narrowed her eyes. She'd seen this before. The cat was receiving the agonizing blessing of StarClan. She worked her paws deeper into the coarse grass, her pelt prickling with curiosity as more cats appeared from the mist. A dark gray Tom touched the brown and white tabby, and the tabby shuddered again. Then an older white and tabby she-cat stepped forward. They must be related. Their markings were similar, and the look that passed between them glistened with affection. Are they mother and kit? Mothlight's thoughts flickered to Windrunner. In the 2 days since the battle, her mother seemed to have grown worse, not better. A moan of pain jerked her attention back to her dream. As the older cat touched noses, the young tabby stiffened and jerked, clenching her teeth. She swayed on her paws, but he held her ground until the older cat withdrew and began fiercely lapping her cheek, as though sorry for the pain she caused. They must be mother and kit. I lost my spot. The young tabby closed her eyes, seeming to relish the moment. Then the old tabby turned and headed into the mist. The young tabby watched her go, eyes desperate with grief. She opened her mouth to yowl. Though Mouthflight could not hear the words, she guessed that the tabby was begging her mother not to leave. Grief stabbed at Mothflight's heart, so sharp it jerked her awake. She blinked her eyes open. Her den was shady and cool. Through the entrance, she could see sunshine scorching the clearing. Windrunner lay beside her on a bed of moss and heather, her broken leg jutting over the edge. Mothlight leaned close. The Wind Clan leader felt hotter than ever. What can I do? Over the past 2 days, Windrunner had struggled into consciousness less and less often, sleeping most of the time now. Perhaps it was a blessing. It saved her from the pain. Perhaps it was her body's way of healing. But if that were true, why was Windrunner's fever worsening? Perhaps I'm giving her too many poppy seeds? Maybe she needs to feel the pain to fight it. Mothlight frowned. She'd helped Pebbleheart set her mother's broken leg, and felt sure that they'd done the right thing. She treated the gash in her throat with dock and horsetail just as Micah had taught her, and yet it still oozed blood. She sniffed the neck wound. Her pelt prickled with alarm. Beneath the pungent tang of herb, she smelled sour infection. Why hadn't Micah's Palu stopped it from turning bad? Was this wound what was making her mother so sick? If Micah's herbs weren't strong enough to heal it, what herbs should she use? Perhaps she should go and ask Pebbleheart. No. After a moon in Shadow Clan, she knew his herb store as well as her own. There were no herbs there she didn't already have. What about Dabblepelt? When she'd visited River Clan with Micah, the River Clan medicine cat had only just begun to experiment with the lush plants growing along the riverbed. Perhaps she discovered something new? Something strong enough to fight Windrunner's infection?
Mothflight?
Honey Pelt's mew interrupted her thoughts. He was peering at her from the den entrance.
Can you come and play yet?
She'd left her kits in the care of the clan while she tended to Windrunner. Honey's Pelt's eyes were round with worry.
We miss you.
Guilt wormed in her belly. I'm sorry, she told him. I have to look after Windrunner. Honey Pelt didn't argue but turned away, his tail drooping. Mothlight's guilt deepened. Another shadow darkened the entrance. She smelled Gorsefur's scent before she could make out his pelt against the bright sunlight. How is she? Gorsefur's mew was grim as he patted in. He stopped beside Windrunner and sniffed her pelt. Her fever's getting worse, Mothflight confessed. I'm not sure what to do. A growl rolled in Gorsefur's throat. This isn't fair, he snapped. After the great battle, I thought the clans had stopped acting like foxes. Can't a new moon pass without bringing us fresh troubles? Mothlight got to her paws and met her father's gaze. I will heal her. she promised. I'm going to RiverClan to see if Dapplepelt has any herbs to treat the infection in her neck wound. Will you watch her while I'm gone? Of course. As Gorse first settled close to his mate, Mothlight nodded towards the wet moss piled beside her mother's makeshift nest. Drip a little water into her mouth every now and then, she told him. Send Dust Muzzle and Spotted Fur to get fresh if the old moss dries out. Gorse Fur's ears twitched.
Will you be gone long?
I'll be as quick as I can. Mothlight ducked from the den, screwing up her eyes against the harsh sunlight. Slate was lying in the long grass outside her den. The gray she-cat was recovering from her cough, but still weak. Stormpelt was nosing through the prey pile with Swift Minnow. The other hunting parties were still out on the moor. Jagged Peak had been organizing patrols while Windrunner was sick, making sure that the prey pile was well stocked.
Mothlight!
Blue Whisker's excited mew sounded from the sandy hollow.
Have you come to play with us?
Mothlight stiffened. I have to go and speak with Dapplepelt. Spiderpaw scrambled out of the hollow and stared at her.
But you haven't played with us for days.
Honeypelt and Bubbling Stream stopped wrestling beside Blue Whisker, untangling themselves and jumping to their paws.
Just one badger ride?
Honeypelt mewed.
Please?
Bubbling Stream blinked at her eagerly. Mothlight's belly tightened with frustration. Digging her claws into the earth, she met Honeypelt's gaze. I'll play with you as much as you like once Windrunner is well. Slate heaved herself to her paws. I'll play with them, she puffed. You need to rest, Mothlight told her sternly. Stormpelt looked up from the prey pile and called to Honeypelt. Once I've eaten, I'll give you a badger ride.
And me?
Bubbling Stream scrambled towards the young Tom. Eagle Feather and Dune Nose will be back from hunting patrol soon, Stormpelt told her. Then you can have as many badger rides as you want. Mothlight glanced gratefully at Stormpelt. Thank you. She headed over the Tussocky clearing and hurried out of camp. The heather was browning after endless days of sunshine. Mothlight looked at the horizon, hope flickering in her belly. She saw clouds bubbling in the distance. Rain might help cool Windrunner's fever. The fever flu leaves she'd given her hadn't helped. She headed down the slope. The dry heather jabbed her paws as she nosed through it. Grass crunched beneath her paws. As she neared the gorge, she heard a faint swish of the river far below. Slowing as she neared the edge, she followed the steep trail that sloped down the cliff and flattened into the shore. In New Leaf, the river churned and frothed between the sheer sides of the gorge, swelled by moons of rain and snowmelt. Now it swirled smoothly, its steep currents pushed quietly against the bank. Mothlight stopped to lap water, her throat burning with thirst, then hurried along the bank as it opened into marshland. She could see his stepping stones ahead and remembered with a jab of grief. Ow, sorry I hit the mic. Micah waiting for her there only a few moons ago. This time she would cross it alone. Micah? She lifted her face to the sky, hoping SkyClan could hear her. How can I make Windrunner well again? The sun glared down at her, stinging her eyes, and she hurried along the bank. If StarClan couldn't help her, maybe Dapplepelt could. She reached the stepping stones and bounded across. The sun-drenched rocks burned her pads, and she paused on a low stone to let the river lap her paw, relishing the water's chill. She scanned the reeds ahead, searching for the opening where a trail would lead her to the RiverClan camp. Fox scent touched her nose. She stiffened, unnerved by its freshness, and gazed along the river. She stiffened, unnerved by its freshness, and gazed along the river to where the water split the reed beds from the forest. Among the trees, birds chattered in the cool shadows. Wings flitted among the branches. There was no sign of a red pelt between the trunks. She leaped the last few stones and landed on the marshy bank, pelt prickling as Fox's stench grew stronger. She paused, stretching onto her hind legs to peer over the reeds. Was a fox skulking there? She couldn't turn back. She needed to reach Dapplepelt. Padding along the shore, she pricked her ears. A gap showed in the reed wall beside her. Her heart lifted. It was the trail she and Micah had followed on their first visit. She opened her mouth, letting scents wash her tongue. The fox stench was still strong. She paused. River Ripple would have smelled it, surely. He'd sent patrols to drive the fox away from his camp. It must be gone by now. She ignored the foreboding in her belly. She'd have to risk it. Windrunner's life depended on her. As she ducked into the reeds, squeals surrounded her. Her heart lurched as she recognized the desperate mules.
Spider-Paw! Help him! He'll drown!
She turned and saw Honeyfelt, Bubbly Stream, and Blue Whisker clustered on a stepping stone in the middle of the river. Oh my god. And there's a fox in their camp? Oh my god. They huddled, fur bushed, and stared at the water flowing away from them. Mothflight followed their gaze, horror sparking through her fur. Her heart lurched as a paw jutted from the water, disappearing again as the current swept it onward. Lightning seemed to jolt through her. She pelted towards the stepping stones, ignoring the surprised squeals of Honeypelt and Bubbling Stream.
Mothflight! Spider-Paw fell in!
She had already plunged into the water. The chill of it took her breath. Gulping, she struggled for the surface and flailed desperately towards the tiny whirlpool, which was all she could see of Spider-Paw. The current grabbed her and spun her, dragging at her fur. Fighting to keep her muzzle above water, she kicked fiercely with her legs, trying to steer herself towards Spider-Paw. The river dragged her down, sucking at her pelt. As water closed over her head, she blinked and opened her eyes, panic sending her thoughts spiraling into terror. Spider-Paw! Mothlight forced herself to focus, straining to see through the stinging water. It clouded around her and dragged her downstream. She kicked out determinedly, pushing herself upward until her head broke the surface long enough to take a desperate gulp. The squeals of Bubbling Stream, Honeypelt, and Blue Whisker seemed far away. She could hardly hear them as water gurgled in her ears. Reeds blurred at the edge of her vision as the river swept her under again. Prepared this time, she struck out with her hind legs and scanned the murky water. A pale shape showed ahead, white fur in the spinning current. Spider-Paw! Blood roared in her ears as she flailed. Trying to swim, she shot forward, closing the gap between her and Spider-Paw. Reaching out with a forepaw, she felt for a snag between her claws. She grabbed it and fought once more for the surface. She broke into fresh air, a bundle flailing against her chest. Its scent filled her nose. It was definitely Spider-Paw. Turning her hind paws, she managed to keep her head above water. Dizzy with fear and disorientated by the swirling river, she looked for the bank, her heart sinking as she saw it across a vast stretch of water. I can make it! Gritting her teeth, she steered herself towards it, fear sparking through every hair as the struggling bundle in her claws grew limp. Grunting with effort, she tried to heave Spider-Paw above the surface. Lift your head! She ordered sharply. Breathe! She shook her paw, desperate to try and rouse him as she struggled closer to the bank. His muzzle dragged through the water. Is he dead? Her hind paws hit stone and she scrambled to find her footing as the riverbed rose to meet them. Limping, she dragged Spider-Paw from the water and laid him on the pebbly shore. Panic scorched beneath her pelt as she stared at his bedraggled body. His muzzle lolled to one side. His paws flopped onto the stones. Spider-Paw! Her mind clouded with dread. Her paws froze beneath her. Mothflight, Mothflight, a distant voice sounded in her ears. Remember what Dapple pelted.
Micah?
Mothflight gazed numbly around as she recognized his calm mew. Remember Drizzle. Of course! Pushing fear away, Mothflight lifted her forepaw and rested them on Spider-Paw's white chest. She began pumping, her thoughts clearing. Juniper branches, Kit. She'd done this before. Spider-Paw was much stronger. Breathe! She growled, pumping harder. Spider-Paw jerked suddenly beneath her paws and coughed up water. She rolled him quickly onto his side and massaged his flank. Then she glanced upstream. The river had carried her far from the stepping stones. She climbed out beside the reed beds on RiverClan's side. She narrowed her eyes, searching for Honeypelt, Bubbling Stream, and Blue Whisker. The stepping stones were empty. Her pelt spiked with fear as fox scent touched her nose. Jesus Christ. Hurry! She knows Spider-Paw up. We have to find your litter mates and get out of here. Hardly daring to look around, she grabbed Spider-Paw's scruff and picked him up. He churned his paws indignantly as she carried him along the bank towards the stepping stones. Where are they? She scanned the far shore, her gaze flitting over the water and crouched towards the reed beds. Is this why medicine cats aren't allowed to have mates and kits? Don't have kits. They get in so much trouble. You can't save your clan. They're too much. They're just too much. It's not worth it. Her heart lifted. 3 shapes crouched at the water's edge, shadowed by the reeds. They'd crossed the stepping stones and were waiting for her on this side of the river. She paced towards them, scrambling to a halt and dropping Spider-Paw beside Honeypelt. Fox stench still soured the air. Come on. She began to herd them towards the stepping stones. We have to get out of here. Alone, she had been willing to risk meeting the fox, but her kits would be easy prey for it. She had to get them out of danger. As they reached the crossing, she darted in front. Wait on the shore, she told them. I'll carry you across one at a time. One at a time. She wasn't going to let another kit fall in. Snatching Blue Whisker by the scruff, she bounded across the stones and dropped her on the far shore. Racing back, she scanned the reed beds, her heart pounding as she looked for flashes of red fur among the stems. There was no sign of Fox, only its stench heavy in the air. She grabbed Spider-Paw and carried him, dangling, across the river. Bounding back, she thanked Dappled Pelt silently for the many trips across the stepping stones. Her paws seemed to find the rocks without her looking. She picked up Bubbling Stream and turned, crackling between her paws. Leaping over the stones a 3rd time, she set Bubbling Stream down beside Blue Whisker and turned back for Honey Pelt. The yellow kit was already halfway across the stones. Mothflight froze, her eyes widening with fear. I'm okay. Honey Pelt paused and met her gaze. Hardly breathing, Mothflight watched him bound onto the next stone. His paws skidded on the rock, but he kept his balance and leaped for the next. 2 more stones and he reached the shore. Mothflight stared at them, anger churning beside her, pride in her belly. Why did you come here? She snapped. It's not safe. Blue Whisker stared at her with round eyes. But you came here, she mewed anxiously. I know how to take care of myself. Mothflight jerked her gaze towards Spider-Paw. I can cross the river without falling in. Spider-Paw looked tiny, his wet pelt slicked against his bones. He blinked at her, his green eyes glittering with guilt. Mothflight's heart twisted. She'd nearly lost him. She pressed her muzzle against his cheek, then began lapping the water from his fur. Honeypelt nudged her flank. Shouldn't we go? He mewed. I can smell Fox. Mothflight blinked at him. Then she glanced towards the reed beds. She needed to speak with Pelt, but first she had to get her kits out of danger. Follow me, she ordered. She led the way along the shore, heading for the gorge and the steep trail into the moor. As they reached the top, her shoulders loosened. Fresh wind whipped down from the moor top, clearing the stench of Fox from her nose. She nosed her kits towards and began to guide them towards camp. As they neared the hollow, she spotted Gorsefur and Stormpelt zigzagging over the grass. Gorsefur lifted his tail as he saw her and called to Stormpelt. They're safe! The Toms raced to meet her, slithering to a halt as they neared. I don't know how they snuck out, Stormpelt panted. Gorsefur was at the entrance. Honeypelt lifted his nose. We used the tunnel Whitetail showed me. Gorsefur eyed the kit sternly. You were supposed to stay in camp. Bubbling Stream glared at them. We wanted to find Mothflight. She was by the river, Blue Whisker told him breathlessly. I fell in, Spider-Paw announced. Gorsefur's pelt spiked. Mothflight had to save me, Spider-Paw explained. Mothflight shook out her dripping pelt. Hi, Don. Then are you done streaming? You'd be great at what I do. What do you do? Oh, videos. You were streaming Minecraft? I thought you were streaming VR chat. Read spooky stories! I should. You're about to? Wait. Did you stop stream to restream again? Ah, I see. You let me have a cookie break. No, you're good. I love to hear a good Dunkachi VA. But I will keep reading. Mothlight shook out her dripping pelt. As her fear ebbed, irritation prickled in her paws. She was supposed to be asking... What? Oh! I thought I got a raid. And I was like, why did I get a raid from myself? Is everything messed up? She was supposed to be asking Dapplepelt for herbs for Windrunner, not escorting her kits home. Her mother's life was at stake. She looked at Gorsefur. I have to go back. Honeypelt looked alarmed.
But there's a fox.
Mothflight glanced towards the gorge. River Ripple will have sent a patrol to drive it away by now. Bluewisker pressed against her flank.
But what if he hasn't?
Mothflight ignored her. There wasn't time to worry. How's Windrunner? She asked Gorsefur. She's talking, he told her, but her words don't make any sense. She opened her eyes for a while, but it was like she couldn't see me. Mothflight's heart quickened. Her fever must be worse. She turned away.
Hi, Apollo! See you tomorrow, Don.
Guys, let me know if you can hear talking in the background. I think my mic has good enough filters to filter it out. My roommate is just like gaming but has her door open. So it is quite I can hear her very clearly, but I don't know if you guys can.
So let me know if you hear something in the background.
Mothlight's heart quickened. Her fever must be worse. She turned away. Dapplepelt will know what to do. She raced for the gorge. Watch the kits! What about the fox? Stormpelt called after her. I'll deal with that if I have to. Just stay with the kits. Mothflight felt the wind whip her words as she hurled down slope. Would Dapplepelt know? Fear crawled beneath her fur. What if the Rin Clan Medicine Cat couldn't help? She could go to Cloudspots or Acorn Fur. Her mind began to spin. What if none of them knew how to save Windrunner? I have to try. She pushed harder against the grass, the wind singing in her ears. Orange and white fur showed at the top of the gorge. Mothflight slowed, narrowing her eyes. Dapplepelt! The tortoiseshell she-cat was padding towards her. Mothflight raced to meet her. Dapplepelt's eyes shone with relief as Mothflight skidded to a halt in front of her. I smelled your scent beside the river. I was coming to see you. Mothflight caught her breath. There's been a fox hunting on our land, Dapplepelt told her. I was worried it'd hurt you. I smelled it, Mothflight told her. River Ripple sent out patrols to chase it off. Dapplepelt flicked her tail. Why did you want to see me? Windrunner's sick, Mothflight told her. I think it's an infection in her neck wound. I've tried Dock and Horsetail, but the wound smells sour and she has a fever. Do you have any herbs I could try? Dapplepelt frowned. It sounds as though the infection's gone too deep for policies. She mewed gravely. I don't know any herbs that can fight it from the inside. Fur lifted along Mothflight's spine. There's nothing I can do? She glanced towards the forest, not waiting for an answer. Perhaps Cloudspots will know? Dapplepelt followed her gaze. Her eyes dark. Perhaps. She didn't sound convinced. Windrunner's fate might be for Starkland to decide. No! What if nothing could save Windrunner? Hopelessness swamped Mothflight. The ground seemed to shift beneath her paws. There must be something I could do. I'm a healer. Dapplepelt dropped her gaze. Some wounds cannot be healed. That's what they said before. The leader's got 9 lives. Mothlight's thoughts spun. She stared desperately at Dapplepelt, but the tortoiseshell was avoiding her gaze. Suddenly, green wings fluttered at the edge of her vision. She recognized them at once. The moth! Turning sharply, she saw it. The beautiful, great moth head that had led her to the high stones. Why had it come back now? She stared at it, energy sparkling in her paws. It circled her, then flitted upslope, dancing on the breeze as it had all those moons ago, as though it was beckoning her. Mothlight glanced at Dapplepelt. Had she seen it too? The river-clan medicine cat was gazing at the moth, her eyes glittering with curiosity. The moth fluttered further uphill, and pushed again, and paused again. It wants me to follow it, Mothlight breathed. Dapplepelt leaned forward, her pelt prickling. Then follow it, she murmured. Hope flickering in her chest, Mothlight raced after the moth. Did it have the answers she'd been searching for? Could the green moth show her how to save Windrunner's life? Chapter 33! I have to take off my robe. It's hot. It is hot in my room.
I'm glad you guys haven't heard anything.
That is good news.
Warriors! Hi, Pancake! You love this book?
This book in particular, or warriors in general? Ooh! You're a Mothflight fan? We're on chapter 33.
Yeah! Aww.
As Mothflight followed the moth upslope, a chilly breeze lifted her fur. Diehard Jay... Me too! I love Jay Feather. He's my Oshi. Jay Feather's my Kami-Oshi. She glanced over her shoulder and saw clouds rolling in behind her, darkening the sky over the forest and marshes. Rain was coming. She ran quicker, skirting the camp as the moth fluttered further and further ahead. Wait for me! Mothflight suddenly realized how tired she was. The day of tending to Windrunner and the long run back and forth to the river had worn her out. But she had to keep going. The moth was showing her something. But what? She paused as she reached the high moor, the ground sloping away ahead of her, rolling down into the valley towards High Stones. The moth flitted on, and Mothflight followed it over the crest of the slope and raced downhill. It wants me to go to High Stones again. Her heart lifted. Perhaps StarClan was waiting there with advice. Were they going to tell her how to cure Windrunner? The moth stopped, hovering on the breeze. Then it ducked past Mothflight, headed back towards the moor. Mothflight turned in surprise, getting on the grass. Where are you going? She raced after it and watched it bob down slope towards the camp. It halted again and shivered in midair while she caught up. Frustration surged beneath Mothflight's pelt. Where do you want me to go? She demanded. The moth bobbed once more towards the high stones. Mothflight turned to follow, but the moment she did, the moth headed back towards the camp. There it hung in the air, letting the wind toss it one way and then the other. Make up your mind! Mothflight froze, her anger melting. Around her, the wind grew stronger, sharp with the scent of rain. Her dreams of the moonstone flashed in her mind. The cats she'd seen there had all been accompanied by a clanmate. And when they'd arrived, StarClan had given them something. Mothflight plucked impatiently at the grass, thinking hard. She knew it must mean something. Something that mattered now. That's why StarClan had sent the moth to fetch her. Not just me. Mothflight understood. As the first drops fell from the darkened clouds, she blinked at the moth. You want me to bring Windrunner? The moth fluttered closer to the camp, as though agreeing. Mothflight hurried towards it. You want me to lead her to the moonstone? As she yowled into the wind, the moth fluttered higher, green wings bright against the gray sky. Deep in her belly, Mothflight knew that she was right. StarClan was waiting to give Windrunner the same gift they'd given the other cats in her dreams. Would it save her life? She had to try. Narrowing her eyes against the thickening rain, Mothflight raced for camp. Spotted Fur, Fernleaf, and Dust Muzzle were carrying fresh prey towards the prey pile. They stared in surprise as she passed them. Swift Minnow was nosing Slate towards the shelter of the camp wall, while Retail slid into Rocky's den, a wad of comfy in his jaws.
Hi, Toji-chan. I'm reading Warrior Cat.
Poetic.
I'm reading Warrior Cat's
Mothflight's vision. Blackear sat proudly beneath the tall rock, ignoring the rain battering his muzzle. A freshly killed rabbit lay beside him. Honeypelt, Bubbling Stream, and Spiderpaw crowded around him, their pelts soaked. "Look what I caught!" he called to Mothflight as she bounded past. She swallowed, glancing at the rabbit. Bubbling Stream was sniffing it, her ears twitching with excitement. "I'm gonna catch a rabbit soon," she mewed. Mothflight paused. "Go and shelter with Slade and Swift Minnow," she told them distractedly. Her attention was fixed on her den. How was she gonna explain her plan to Gorsefur? Could Windrunner even make it to the High Stones? She has to. Bubbling Stream scrambled out of the hollow. "Mothflight!" Her edged her mew as her mother headed away. "Not now!" Mothflight called. "I'm busy." "You have come on a new device."
Hi, the Titans.
Congrats on your new device. Spiderpaw jumped out of the hollow and blinked at her.
You promised you'd play with us.
"Shouldn't you be taking care of your kits?" Jagged Peak patted from the shelter of the gorse. His eyes narrowed with interest, while Holly watched from the shadows behind. Mothflight ignored him. She slid into her den. "I've had a sign from StarClan," she told Gorsefur. Her father was crouched beside Windrunner. He jerked around, his pelt prickling nervously. Is she gonna be okay? I have to take her to the Moonstones." Mothflight tried to catch her breath. "High Stones?" Gorsefur leaped up, eyes blazing. "She can't travel!" He swung his nose towards Windrunner. She lay sprawled on the bed of heather. Her comfy wrapped leg jutted awkwardly. Her eyes were half closed, white showing through the slits. Mothflight stiffened, fear stabbing her heart. Was Windrunner dead? She ducked down beside the WindClan leader, relieved to feel her mother's flank tremble. "I wish I could be a voice actor. Oh my god, someone hire me." Mothflight stiffened. Wait, I already read that part. Her breath was fast, heat pulsed from her pelt. "I'll mix her some herbs to give her strength for the journey." Mothflight hurried to her store, plucking leaves from between the gorse stems. "No!" Gorsefur growled. "You're not taking her anywhere." Mothflight shredded a paw full of feverflu and ripped nettle, catmint, and colt's foot into the pile. She sprinkled poppy seeds over it, hoping they'd ease her mother's pain without making her sleepy. She had to do everything she could to get Windrunner to the Moonstones. Gorsefur's breath billowed over her ears. "Did you hear me?" Mothflight looked at him. "I can't sit here and watch her die." "You can't take her out there to die." Gorsefur's pelt spiked with fury. "If she's gonna die, she should be with her clan. If I can get her to the Moonstone, she won't die." Mothflight glared at her father. "StarClan is guiding me. I know it." A shadow moved at the den entrance. Jagged Peak slid in, his pelt wet with rain. "Have you spoken with StarClan?" Mothflight met his gaze. "In my dreams, yes. And they told you to take Windrunner to the Moonstone." Jagged Peak tipped his head. "Not exactly." Mothflight snapped. "But I know that's what they meant." Jagged Peak narrowed his eyes. "You think that's what they meant." Mothflight growled. "I know it." Gorsefur padded to Windrunner's side and gazed down at her. "She's in no state to travel." "She will be." Mothflight grabbed a mouthful of shredded leaves and pushed past him. She spat the scrapes onto the heather beside Windrunner's muzzle. "Windrunner, can you swallow these?" Windrunner moaned softly but didn't open her eyes. Panic flashed in Mothflight's belly. "Leave her in peace!" Mothflight felt her father's claws drag her backwards. She turned on him, hissing. You have to trust me. You have to trust StarClan. When Half Moon made me a medicine cat, she told me that the clan's destiny would one day depend on me. Jagged Peak leaned forward, ears flat. What has this got to do with the clan's destiny? I don't know. Mothflight trembled with rage. But you have to let me find out. Furred Dash brushed the heather at the entrance. A gentle mew sounded behind Jagged Peak. Trust her, Gorsfur. Dust Muzzle! Gratitude swept Mothflight as she saw her brother's solemn gaze. He padded past Jagged Peak and stopped in front of his father. Has she ever been wrong? Gorsfur hesitated, his eyes glittering with fear. He glanced at Windrunner, then at Mothflight. Finally, he dropped his gaze. No. Then let her take Windrunner, Dust Muzzle murmured. Gorsfur began to tremble. But she'll die. Don't be frightened, Gorsfur. Windrunner's parched mew sounded from the heather. Mothflight jerked around to see her mother blinking up at them. Gorsfur turned beside her. Windrunner went on. Every cat must die, but I won't go without a fight. I'm Wind Clan's leader, and I must show I have courage. It will give my clan courage. Wait, what? It will give my clan courage. I will go to the Moonstone with Mothflight. Mothflight's heart leaped. She trusts me. I play games on every other day I stream. Wednesdays just happen to be Warrior Cat Wednesdays. So you can come back on a day where I'm not reading. I've lost my spot now. Where is my spot? Oh, there we are. Jagged Peak stared at the Wind Clan leader, his eyes round with surprise. But you're too weak. I'll find the strength. Windrunner's eyes were clouded with pain. Eat these. Mothflight nosed the shredded leaves closer, and Windrunner turned her head to lap them from the heather. She swallowed and gazed into Mothflight's eyes. I'm proud of you, Mothflight. You're ready to fight for what you believe in. Joy washed through Mothflight's pelt. Windrunner struggled onto her 3 good paws, grunting with pain as her broken leg trailed on the ground, held stiff by the swaths of comfrey. At once, Mothflight ducked down beside her and eased the wrappings enough for her to tuck her hind paw beneath her. Limping with 3 legs, Windrunner headed past Jagged Peak. Gorsfur hurried after her. I'm coming with you. Windrunner swung her head around. No. Gorsfur blinked at her, clearly shocked. But... She cut him off. If I don't make it back, Wind Clan will need you. She glanced at Jagged Peak. Gorsfur will be the next leader. Limping out of the den, she left Gorsfur gazing at her. Dang, she can say that? Mothflight's paws trembled as she saw helpless grief on her father's face. I'll make sure she comes home. She promised desperately. Please, StarClan, save her. She followed her mother into the clearing. Rain battered her face. It pounded the clearing and pooled among the tussocks. The wide, dark sky glowed over the camp. She felt fur brush her flanks as Dust Muzzle stopped beside her. We're coming with you. He beckoned Spotted with a flick of his tail. Spotted looked up from the mouse he was eating beside the drenched prey pile. His eyes rounded, questioningly. We're taking Windrunner to the Moonstone, Dust Muzzle called. Spotted leaped to his paws and hurried to join them. Can she walk that far? His gaze followed Windrunner. She was padding clumsily through the tussocks. Holly darted out from the shelter of the grass. She's too ill to leave camp. Swift Minnow stared after her leader. Windrunner, come back! Where's she going? Stormpelt stopped, Spiderpaw clinging to his broad shoulders. Honeypelt and Bubbling Stream stood beside him, their ears prickled. Mothflight blinked at Stormpelt. I'm taking her to the Moonstones. You only just got back, Honeypelt mewed. Spiderpaw shook the rain from his pelt. Stay with us! Mothflight avoided their gaze. I can't, my loves. I have to save Windrunner. Her heart seemed to crack inside her chest. Horsefar padded from the medicine den. His gaze swept the watching cats.
This is something Windrunner must do.
He nodded to Mothflight.
StarClan has called her, and she must go.
Mothflight raced to her father and pressed her cheek against his. I'll take care of her, she whispered, before pulling away and heading after Windrunner.
Mothflight.
Mothflight!
Blue Whisker's mew sounded beside the heather wall. Mothflight turned to see her kit, cowering from the rain. Her wet pelt clung to her tiny frame. She stared at her mother anxiously.
Are you leaving again?
Mothflight hurried to her kit and snatched her up by her scruff. Bounding across the tussock, she dropped her at the entrance to Rocky's den and nosed her inside. Keep her warm and dry while I'm gone, her mew echoed into the heather. Reedtail stuck his head out. I'm taking Windrunner to the Moonstone, Mothflight told him. Take care of the clan. I'll be back as soon as I can.
Mothflight!
Blue Whisker's plaintive mew sounded from the shadows. Rocky's rumbling purr answered her.
She'll be back soon.
Mothflight turned away, sorrow weighing like stones in her belly. Raindrops streamed from her whiskers. I'm sorry, kits. I have to do this. Spotted Fur and Dustmuzzle had already reached Windrunner. They walked on either side, pressing their shoulders against hers to support her. Mothflight hurried after them, catching up as they reached the camp entrance. Outside, the rain streaked the moorside. Whipped by the wind, Windrunner's face was stiff with pain, her eyes firmly fixed ahead. Mothflight slid into the lead, choosing the easiest path to the moor top. She reached the crest first and looked back, stiffening as she realized how far behind Windrunner had fallen. Even with Spotted Fur and Dustmuzzle supporting her, she glanced at the sky, wishing the clouds would clear. She'd been rabbit-brained to hope for rain. Where's the sun? Was it slipping towards Highstone yet? They must get there before the moon rose. In her dreams, the moonstone had blazed with moonlight when the other cats had met StarClan. Windrunner must be there when it did. What if the clouds didn't clear? What if moonlight couldn't touch the stone? Her pelt spiked. She pushed away the thought. Just get her there. She beckoned Dustmuzzle to hurry, flicking her tail urgently. He gazed at her pleadingly. She knew he was doing his best. They couldn't risk pushing Windrunner too hard, but they had to get there tonight. Mothflight guessed that her mother couldn't survive another day's raging fever. She gazed through the rain to the thunder path below. Monsters roared, thundering in both directions. Their eyes lit up, spraying walls of water in their wake. How would they get Windrunner across? She hurried down the slope, leaving Dustmuzzle and Spotted Fur to follow with Windrunner. As she neared the bottom where the thunder path cut through the grass, she slowed. Monster stench stung her eyes and burned her throat. The ground trembled beneath her paws. She watched the gaps between the monsters, trying to judge whether there would be enough time to get Windrunner between them. When she glanced back, her heart stopped. Spotted Fur and Dustmuzzle were still near the top of the slope. She'll never be fast enough. Heart racing, she pelted towards them, circling as she reached them. Windrunner hardly seemed to focus her gaze. Mothflight thrust her muzzle close, smelling the rank stench of infection in her mother's breath. Then she saw blood seeping from the wound in her neck. Rain dripped from her fur, reddened by the blood. I should have brought cobwebs. Mothflight cursed herself for being so dumb. How is she? She asked Dustmuzzle. Windrunner paused and lifted her gaze hazily. I'm doing okay, she rasped. It was strange for Mothflight to see her mother so weak. She'd always seemed stronger than any cat. Dustmuzzle exchanged a look with Mothflight. She saw fear flash in his eyes as he glimpsed the busied thunder path. We'll never get across there. We have to, Mothflight told him. Spotted Fur narrowed his eyes. If we get the timing right, we could just do it. Mothflight looked at him hopefully. We might have to stop in the middle, he added. Stop in the middle? Mothflight could hardly believe her ears. Dustmuzzle was following Spotted Fur's gaze. There's a narrow channel where the monsters pass each other. They don't touch each other, they won't touch us. Mothflight's belly twisted with fear as she realized they'd have to try. It was their only chance. Okay. She turned towards the thunder path and headed slowly towards it. She could hear her mother's breathing as she struggled to keep up. Windrunner was fighting for every breath. Her injured hind paw was tucked beneath her. Mothlight couldn't imagine the pain that compelled her to keep it from trailing along the ground. She fixed her thoughts ahead before fear could overwhelm her. We're going to do this. As they neared the thunder path, she began to judge the gaps between the monsters once more. As the rain grew heavier, the monsters seemed to slow, the gaps between them widening. Come on! They had to cross while the rain was at its heaviest. She crouched at the edge of the black stone, screwing up her eyes as a monster hurled past. Filthy water arced like a wave over her back and sprayed Spotted for Dustmuzzle and Windrunner as they caught up. Ew, gross. Give me a moment to catch my breath, Windrunner growled. She slumped as Dustmuzzle stepped away, her flanks heaving. Mothfight leaned close to her muzzle. I hope I can be as brave as you one day. Windrunner lifted her gaze. You already are. Let's go! Dustmuzzle nosed Mothflight away, pressing hard against Windrunner. A wide gap had opened up between two monsters. This was their chance. Mothflight hopped onto the thunder path, pausing to make sure Windrunner was following. Spotted for Dustmuzzle half carried the Wind Clan leader onto the stone. Windrunner fought to find her paws. I can do this, she hissed through gritted teeth. Shaking the toms away, she limped forward. Mothflight turned to face the oncoming monster. It pounded towards them, its eyes flaring. Another monster hurled towards them from the other direction. Wait here! Spotted Fur screeched, throwing himself against Windrunner. Mothflight ducked into her mother. Dustmuzzle pressed against them. Mothflight screwed up her eyes, and her heart seemed to burst as the two monsters screamed past on either side. Foul water drenched her pelt as the ground shook beneath her paws. Move! Dustmuzzle's order was sharp. Mothflight opened her eyes and saw that the way to the far side was clear. Windrunner straightened with a groan of pain and hobbled towards the verge. Spotted Fur pushed his shoulder beneath her and urged her on. The roar of another monster screamed in Mothflight's ears. She turned her head, blinded by the glare of its eyes. Don't turn! Or don't look! Run! Dustmuzzle shoved her forward and she scrambled over the edge of the thunder path, collapsing onto the muddy grass beyond its paws of a monster. Beyond as the paw of a monster whisked past her tail. The wind from its passing tugged her dripping fur. Windrunner! She looked around, fear shrilling through her. Windrunner was laying on the grass a tail length ahead. Spotted Fur half cradled her against his belly. He struggled from beneath her. I fell, he grunted, shaking rainwater from his fur. Dustmuzzle hurried to help Windrunner to her paws. Mothflight was on his heels. Are you okay? She sniffed her mother's broken leg. The swaths of comfrey were hanging from it loosely. Windrunner flinched as she touched it with her nose. Mothflight looked into her mother's eyes, seeing agony spark in their amber depths. Then she looked back at the thunder path. Monsters streaked back and forth, picking up speed as the rain began to ease. The gaps closed between them. There was no way back now. They had to keep going. Can you do this? She searched Windrunner's gaze, praying she'd say yes. Windrunner nodded and struggled to her paws. Dustmuzzle and Spotted Fur flanked her. Mothflight blinked through the rain, scanning the meadows ahead. Perhaps she'd find some poppy seeds along the way. Anything to ease her mother's suffering. They crossed the sodden field slowly. Mud clung to their paws as they skirted meadows and squeezed beneath hedge growths. Every few steps, Mothflight glanced up at high stones, hoping each time that they loomed larger. But it seemed that with each paw step, the great dark cliffs were moving further away. We'll never make it. Staring at the ground, Mothflight trudged on. She could hear Windrunner swallowing back gasps of agony. Rain thrummed her pelt as the fields around them darkened. She focused on the mud clogging her paws as she tried to block the fear churning in her belly. She flattened her ears against the pained growlings of Windrunner. Was I wrong? Doubt sliced into her thoughts. What if she'd misunderstood her dreams? What if the moth had nothing to do with StarClan? Moths and butterflies danced across the heather all greenleaf. Why was this one special? She lifted her head, blinking at Spotted Fur and Dustmuzzle as they helped Windrunner squeeze beneath a hedge. She could hardly see them in the darkness. Dusk was passing and night rolling in. Had they come all this way for nothing? She stopped, frozen with fear. Mothflight? Dustmuzzle's call jerked her from her thoughts. She stared at him as he turned from the hedge and headed towards her. Are you all right? What if I was wrong? She whispered. You're never wrong, Dustmuzzle told her. Mothflight hardly heard him. Gorsfer said that if she's going to die, she should be with her clan, and we've taken her away from them. She's with us. Dustmuzzle leaned closer, keeping his mew low, and she's not going to die. Mothflight looked past him. She could make out the shapes of Spotted Fur and Windrunner beyond the hedge. The WindClan leader was lying on the ground. Mothflight darted forward, panic spiraling in her chest. She wriggled under the hedge and sniffed Windrunner's muzzle. Is she still breathing? I'm just resting, Windrunner grunted. Mothflight's paws trembled beneath her as relief swept her pelt. Did you think I'd give up when we were so close? She lifted her chin from the muddy earth and looked towards Highstones. Mothflight blinked in surprise. They were nearly there. As she gazed up at the sheer cliff face, green wings fluttered above her. She looked up and saw the moth bobbing towards the dark opening in the stone. Hope flared in Mothflight's belly. I must trust myself more. Come on. She nosed Windrunner gently to her paws. We have to get there before the moon does. Are we racing the moon? Windrunner glanced at her out of the corner of her eye, amusement flashing through her pain. I always told Gorsfer you were the strange one. Affection opened like a flower in Mothflight's chest. Then Windrunner coughed, her paws buckling beneath her. Mothflight smelled the scent of fresh blood. She pressed her shoulder against her mother's as the Dustmuzzle slid around the other side. Windrunner's fur felt warm and wet, and Mothflight guessed that her neck wound was bleeding heavily now. Please let her make it, praying to StarClan. She began to guide Windrunner onward. Just hope the Moonstone can save you. Chapter 34. We're finishing this today. I'm going to read until I finish it. You have to wait here. Mothflight gazed solemnly at Spotted Fur. She nodded to Dustmuzzle. You too. They had managed to haul Windrunner over the stone lip of the cave. Windrunner leaned against Dustmuzzle, her eyes clouded. She murmured under her breath, Where's Gorsfer? Tell him I'm coming. Mothflight glanced at her mother anxiously. Windrunner was clearly lost in a feverish world of pain. Dustmuzzle peered into the darkness at the back of the cave. Where's the Moonstone? It's down a tunnel, Mothflight told him. Can you get there alone? I must. She was their medicine cat. She alone must guide her mother to StarClan. Spotted Fur shifted his paws uneasily. We could help her there and then leave. Mothflight hesitated. Windrunner was exhausted. Do I really have the strength to help her through the tunnel? Outside, the clouds were clearing, revealing the night sky. Stars stretched to the distant moor. So much depends on me. Spotted Fur and Dustmuzzle were hunters. More runners who fed the clan. My bond with StarClan is special. Her belly hardened. She met Spotted Fur's gaze. I must do this alone. Sliding between Windrunner and Dustmuzzle, she staggered as she took Windrunner's weight. Come on, she whispered, hoping her mother could hear her. Windrunner padded forward unsteadily. Mothflight pressed her paws hard against the stone. I lost my spot. Trying to keep her balance as she steered the WindClan leader towards the back of the cave. As darkness swallowed them, she became sharply aware of her mother's rasping breath and the scuffling of their paws as they limped together into the tunnel. The air grew cold, swirling around them like freezing water. The tunnel sloped beneath Mothflight's paws. The dank scent of stone was masked by the iron tang of Windrunner's blood. A drop smacked the tunnel floor. Mothflight felt it spray her paws. Another drop fell, the sound ringing around the stone walls. Mothflight pushed on faster, heaving her mother forward with every step. Don't die. Her heart quickened. Windrunner's dripping blood splattered her fur. Ignoring the fear that was tightening like bindweed around her heart, she focused on moving forward, letting her whiskers brush the cave wall where she could. carefully following the twisting tunnel deeper into the earth. Every sense was fixed ahead, every thought willing Windrunner on. You can do it. Her mother's breath was growing uneven, a few short breaths followed by the desperate drawing in of air. Mothlight swallowed. Each breath sounded like Windrunner's last. Mothlight smelled fresh air. It felt warm on her nose after the icy chill of the tunnel. The cave! They'd made it! A few more steps and the walls opened into the Moonstone Cavern. Soft starlight filtered through the hole in the roof. The moonstone rose, still and dark, from the middle of the cave floor. Grunting with effort, Mothlight heaved her mother forward and let her collapse against it. Windrunner gasped as she fell, and lay still. Mothlight backed away, heart pounding. Her mother didn't move. Windrunner? Mothlight's paws felt rooted to the stone. She stared, terror clutching her chest. Was it too late? Suddenly, the moonstone blazed into white fire. Mothlight flinched, screwing up her eyes. Through a slitted gaze, she saw moonlight flooding through the hole in the roof. She strained to see her mother, and could just make out her body, a dark shadow against the glittering stone. Please move. Desperately, she willed Windrunner to twitch an ear or move a paw. Show me you're alive! A soft mew sounded beside her ear. Everything will be fine. Mothlight froze as she recognized his mew. Her breath stopped in her throat as she smelled a familiar scent. Micah? Fur brushed hers as she snapped her head around, meeting.
Thank you, Liko.
Micah blinked slowly at her, his pelt sparkling with starlight. His warmth seemed to melt her into her, and she realized suddenly how cold and wet she was. She softened against him, letting herself lean into the familiar curve of his flank. He pressed his cheek against hers. You've done so well. His mew was thick with love. Joy flared in her chest. Will Windrunner be okay? You've done all that you can, he breathed. Now she belongs to StarClan. She stiffened. Belongs to StarClan? Was she dead? Micah's breath stirred her ear fur. One day you will gather the scattered petals of the blazing star. But not yet. She drew away from him and stared into his green gaze. What do you mean? He blinked at her. Just watch, he whispered. He turned his head towards the moonstone. Mothlight followed his gaze. Around the shimmering rock, pelts were appearing, sparkling as though stars were woven into their fur. StarClan had come. Greywing stepped from among the ranks of the starry cats and stopped beside Windrunner. He turned to Mothlight. You are a lot like... You are more like your mother than you imagine, he told her gently. It took courage to bring her here, and strength, more than you knew you had. He dipped his head, but it also took something even your mother does not share. You are special, Mothlight. You can see what is hidden from ordinary cats. You can read signs and understand their meaning. Mothlight glanced at her mother, slumped against the rock. Wasn't Greywing gonna heal Windrunner? Don't waste time! Greywings gazed didn't waver. You must understand the importance of this skill. Any cat can follow a moth. Impatience prickled through Mothlight's fur. Few cats would understand which moth will lead their clan to safety, Greywing told her. I haven't led my clan anywhere. Mothlight's heart began to quicken. She looked for Micah. He wasn't behind her anymore. She glimpsed his pelt among the other spirit cats. I only brought you Windrunner. You're gonna save her, right? We can't save this life, but we can save the other 9. His words echoed from the walls, ringing in Mothlight's ears. She stared at him, feeling sick. But you have to! Greywing stepped back while StarClan moved at the edges of the cave, forming a glittering ring around the blazing moonstone. Mothlight's heart seemed to stop. Don't let her die! We can only give her our gift. Greywing leaned down and touched his nose to Windrunner's head as she lay against the rock. Windrunner, with this life I give you the determination to bring unity to all the clans. Windrunner suddenly jerked as though sharp teeth had seized her body. She shuddered, her fur bushing. As Greywing stepped away, the Wind Clan leader lifted her head and blinked. She staggered to her paws and stood unsteadily, staring at the circle of star-flecked cats. Mothlight wanted to race forward and press her muzzle to her mother's cheek, but her paws felt frozen, her body too stiff to move. She watched helplessly as another cat stepped forward. Mothlight recognized Petal from her first meeting with StarClan. The she-cat leaned towards Windrunner, who blinked at her, confused. With this life, Petal told her, may you learn to love friendship and loyalty above all things. She touched her nose to Windrunner, and Windrunner trembled, her ears flattening. Please don't hurt her, Mothlight called. She's suffered so much already. Micah's gaze flashed towards her, soft with sympathy. Mothlight stared at him pleadingly. He blinked slowly, as though reassuring her that everything would be fine. Windrunner swayed on her paws as Petal drew away. Her eyes sparkled with fear as Turtletail took Petal's place. She recoiled, tucking her broken leg tighter beneath her. Do not be afraid, Windrunner, Turtletail soothed. We are giving you a gift for all the clans. Windrunner straightened, pushing her injured leg to the ground. Mothlight's paws turned cold as she saw her mother grimace, as though gritting her teeth against pain. Turtletail reached her head forward. This life, I give you stubbornness to keep going in the face of future troubles. Windrunner moaned softly as Turtletail touched her, the fur lifting along her spine. Mothlight felt sick. She knew her mother was suffering. She tensed as Windrunner tensed, and as Turtletail stepped away, she felt limp with relief. Windrunner turned her head to stare at the star-pelted cats crowding the cave. She blinked as though noticing them for the first time. Then her eyes widened as a gray tom padded towards her. Her ears twitched. What are you doing here? There was a snarl in her mew. Mothlight tipped her head, curious. Oh, it's Windrunner. What are you doing here? There was a snarl in her mew. Mothlight tipped her head, curious. Who was this strange cat? She hadn't seen him before. The Tom dipped his head as he stopped in front of Windrunner. I know you hate me for leaving you. Windrunner hissed. You're a coward, Branch. You abandoned me before I could even hunt properly. There's nothing I want from you. I didn't mean to leave you. Yet you left me all the same. Windrunner narrowed her eyes. It was the kindest thing you ever did to me. If you hadn't disappeared, I'd never have met Gorsfur. He's a better cat than you could ever be. He has given me love and loyalty and the kits I'm proud of. Mothlight frowned. Who was this? Clearly a cat her mother had known when she was young. As she strained to recall her mother's stories, Branch spoke. You deserve a cat like Gorsfur. You deserve a cat like Gorsfur far more than you deserved me. He leaned forward and touched his nose to her head. With this life, I give you the confidence to open your heart to other cats. I give you trust. Windrunner jerked again, trembling as his touch sent pain searing through her. But Mothlight didn't flinch. This was like it had been in her dreams. Windrunner must endure it, just as the other cats had, and when it was over... Mothlight narrowed her eyes. When it was over, then what? A familiar pelt moved towards Windrunner. Willowtail! Clear-eyed and strong, Willowtail stepped forward. She carried no signs of her injuries from the battle. Chin high, she took Branch's place. Windrunner met her gaze, her eyes flashing with anger. You lied to me. Willowtail nodded. I know. I led my clanmates into battle for no good reason. As she leaned forward, Windrunner began to duck away. I'm sorry. Windrunner paused and met Willowtail's touch with her nose. With this life, said Willowtail, I give your heart the grace to forgive all cats, however weak or wrong they may be. Windrunner hardly flinched. Only her tail tip shivered. As Willowtail stepped away, aww, A kid took her place! Mothlight's heart swelled with joy as she recognized Morning Whisker. As the she-kid padded forward, Windrunner blinked. Her eyes clouded. Morning Whisker. The least disbelief edged her mew. Morning Whisker purred loudly.
Hi, Windrunner.
Windrunner thrust her muzzle forward to greet her, but Morning Whisker backed away.
Not yet.
The she-kid gazed at Windrunner, joy shining in her eyes. Windrunner's tail trembled. Are you happy? Are you well? Morning Whisker glanced fondly towards her starry clanmates.
Yeah. Half Moon and Greywing have taught me how to hunt.
You hunt? Windrunner sounded surprised.
We hunt and warm our pelts in sunshine and share tongues just like you.
A delighted purr throbbed in Windrunner's throat. Then she paused. Is Amberkit with you? Morning Whisker blinked slowly at her mother, and then, without answering, reached up and touched her nose.
With this life, I give you resilience to keep going, whatever troubles life brings.
As she finished, Windrunner's pelt bushed. She stiffened, her claws scraping the stone as she braced herself against the pain of her kit's gift. Then her shoulders loosened, and Morning Whisker backed away into the shadows. Amberkit took her place. Mothlight leaned forward, her heart pounding. What must it be like to meet a kit you'd never had a chance to know in life? Amberkit? Windrunner's mew was thick with emotion.
Hello, Windrunner.
Amberkit stared at his mother with round, star-speckled eyes. It's so good to see you. As Windrunner's gaze flickered over the young Tom's fluffy pelt, Mothlight swallowed back a purr of pleasure.
I wish I could have stayed with you longer,
Amberkit told his mother softly.
But I'm happy with StarClan. There are moors for me to play on. One day I'll show them to you.
Before Windrunner could answer, Amberkit reached forward and touched his nose to her muzzle.
With this life, I give you love.
This time, Windrunner did not flinch with pain. Her pelt smoothed. Closing her eyes, she swayed softly. She grew still as Amberkit drew away, her eyes closed as though lost in a dream. Half Moon took the tomkit's place, waiting patiently for Windrunner to drift back into the moment. When at last Windrunner opened her eyes, she tipped her head as though confused. Who are you? Half Moon. The slender white she-cat's dark green gaze reflected the shimmering moonstone. Are you Stone Tailor? Windrunner dipped her head. Greywing and Jagged Peak have spoken of you often. Mothlight, too. I'm honored to meet you. You were the first, Half Moon told her solemnly. May you carry StarClan in your heart always. The first. The first? Windrunner narrowed her eyes. Half Moon stretched her muzzle forward and touched noses with the WindClan leader. As she did, a jolt seemed to race through Windrunner. Mothlight stiffened as her mother jerked wildly. Her paws buckled beneath her and she collapsed onto the floor. No! Heart bursting, Mothlight darted to her mother's side. Windrunner lay like dead prey on the stone, her flanks still. No breath stirred the cold air. You killed her! She glared accusingly at Half Moon. I brought her here to be saved! Half Moon blinked calmly and stepped away. Have faith, Mothlight. Mothlight's mind whirled. Have faith in what? They were meant to stop Windrunner from dying. She stared around the starry cats, appalled at the joy lighting their eyes. Didn't they realize what they were done? Or what they'd done? Why had they brought her here? Had they wanted Windrunner to die? Desperate with grief and rage, Mothlight buried her nose in Windrunner's pelt. How was she going to tell Gorsfur that her mate had died, far from her clan and in the moor? Suddenly, Windrunner moved. Mothlight jerked her nose up, shock sparking through her. Blah, 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 blah. Where the heck was I? Suddenly, Windrunner moved. Mothlight jerked her nose up, shock sparking through every hair. She stared at as her mother pushed herself lightly to her paws. Windrunner lifted her chin and shook the comfrey from her hind leg. The once bloody fur around her throat was clean and soft. Her injured paw pressed against the stone, as strong as the others. Mothflight shivered, her thoughts spinning. Had her mother joined StarClan? She scanned her pelt for sparkles of sunlight, but only saw her plain brown fur. I don't understand. She stared at Half Moon. Remember your dreams, the white she-cat told her. Those cats didn't die. Mothlight's fur prickled with hope. Half Moon dipped her head to Windrunner. You are the first of the stars that will rise. The prophecy! We will split the sky and later stars will rise. Dang. That was so long ago. Half Moon went on. We have given you the gift we will give all the leaders. The gift of 9 lives. From now on, you shall be known as Windstar. Joy flooded like starlight beneath the Mothflight's pelt. Windstar! 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 She remembered her vision of the gray she-cat in the ditch. Suddenly, it made sense. Windrunner could die 8 times and still come back to life.
Hi, El Gato!
Around her, StarClan began to chant, their voices echoing around the shimmering walls of the cave. Windstar! 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 Chapter 35. We did it, boys! We got the first leader. That's funny then. Wait. But then Clear Sky is the only one with the weird clan name. Like, he wouldn't be Clear Star, he'd be Sky Star. Just hilarious, because he's most, like, his first name is Clear. Chapter 35. Moth... Oh, wait.
Mothfly!
Bubbling Stream paced in front of her mother, her stumpy tail fluffed with excitement.
Whitetail says I can go hunting with him and Stormpelt.
Mothfly was laying in the morning sunshine outside her den. She gazed sympathetically at her kit. You're too little.
He says he won't let any buzzards get me.
Bubbling Stream argued.
Hi, the Catman!
Perfect day for Catmans. Stormpelt's taking Whitetail out to teach him hunting techniques. Mothflight argued. How can he learn anything if he's protecting you from buzzards? Bubbling Stream scowled and stomped away. Blue Whisker hurried to meet her littermate.
I told you she'd say no.
Mothflight flicked her gaze past her kits to the sandy clearing below the tall rock. Windstar stood at the head, Horsefur beside her, while the clan milled around her. She was assigning patrols for the day. A bright morning sunshine gleamed in on her pelt. As she paced, the Wind Clan leader showed no signs of a limp. At her neck, there wasn't even a scar where the gash had been.
Hi, Jarn.
Jagged Peak nosed his way through his clanmates and stopped in front of her. Can I hunt the Moortop burrows? Windstar shook her head. We've hunted there too much this Greenleaf. There'll be no Grabbits left. Take Collie in to the Shadow Clan border and see what's running there. She nodded towards Dustmuzzle. I want you to train Silverstripe. She's fast, but her stalking needs help. Needs work. Silverstripe pricked her ears. Can we hunt lapwings? She asked Stormpelt excitedly. Stormpelt patted towards the young she-cat. Lapwings are hard to catch, he told her. Let's start with mice. Blackear pushed past his sister.
Can you train me as well?
Windstar cut in. Spotted Fur can train you. Blackear lifted his tail happily as Windstar turned to Spotted Fur. Show him the borders and the best places to scent mark, she ordered. Spotted Fur puffed out his chest proudly as Windstar turned to Swift Minnow. You can go to Shadow Clan border with Fernleaf, Jagged Peak, and Holly. Reed Tail, she nodded to the Tom. Take Dew Nose and Eagle Feather along the moor side. I saw kestrels hunting there yesterday. The prey must be running well. You finished all the books? Mothflight noticed Reed Tail's gaze flit over Windstar anxiously. Will you be hunting today? Oh wait, sorry. I give him a deep voice. Will you be hunting today? Of course. Windstar sounded surprised. She'd hunted every day since her return. We're starting the... Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're hoping to finish all the books and eventually catch up. We just finished Dawn of the Clans. This is Mothlight's vision, so we're starting the next series next week. Retail was staring at her healed hind leg. Are you sure you're strong enough? Windstar rolled her eyes. How many times must I explain? I'm fine now. You've even checked my leg. Does it look broken? Retail's ears twitched. It's just hard to believe StarClan has such power. Mothlight understood this bewilderment. She could hardly believe what she'd seen, and yet it was true. When they had returned from the Moonstone a few days ago, reaching camp in the early dawn light, Gorsfer had been waiting at the entrance, his eyes widening with shock as Windstar padded towards him. He'd run to meet her, circling her in disbelief. StarClan healed you, he gasped. Windstar met his gaze steadily. They did more than that. They gave me this life back and 8 more lives to lead WindClan through endless moons. Gorsfer halted, his pelt rippling along his spine. He glanced towards Mothlight. 9 lives? How can that be? I'm not sure. Mothlight shifted her paws. She was still awed by StarClan's power. But it's true. I've seen it before in my dreams. It's a gift they will give to all the leaders. In the days that followed, Mothlight had traveled to each camp, sharing her news with Acorn Fur and Clear Sky, Cloud Spots and Thunder, Pebbleheart and Tall Shadow, Dapplepelt and River Ripple. River Ripple had seemed the least surprised, Clear Sky the most excited. Mothlight was sure he'd have traveled with Acorn Fur by now to receive his 9 lives. She hoped all the clan leaders had visited the Moonstones by now. She'd find out tonight at the Half Moon Gathering. Windstar's mew jerked her from her thoughts. Honeybell, get down! Pizza, yummy! What kind of pizza? Mothlight looked up to see the tomcat scrambling onto the ledge halfway up the tall rock. Swiftminnow and Retail had leaped from the hollow. Retail reached up with his forepaws, stretching until he was high enough to pluck Honeypelt from the ledge by his scruff. He placed him on the ground. Honeypelt fluffed out his fur grumpily. I'm not allowed to have any fun. Windstar stared at him sternly. Go and play with your litter mates. She nodded towards Bubbling Stream and Blue Whisker were chasing Spiderpaw's tail as he darted along the tussocks, whisking it over the grass. Frowning, Honeypelt padded towards them. His clanmates streamed past as they reached for the entrance, heading for the moor. Ooh, congrats on your glove, or mannequin hand, either or. His clanmates stormed past him as they raced for the entrance, headed for the moor. Above the camp, the sky stretched, clear and blue. Heather's scent mingled with prey scent, rolling into camp on a light breeze. Spiderpaw halted and stared wistfully after Windstar and Gorsfer as they followed the others through the gap in the heather wall. Bubbling Stream bounced around him. Let's play hunting. She ducked low, pressing her belly against the grass. Blue Whisker crouched beside him. Honeypelt scrambled onto a tussock and reached his forepaws into the air. I'm hunting buzzards. Has a cat ever caught a buzzard? Blue Whisker blinked at Mothlight. Mothlight padded towards her. I don't think so. But when Greywing used to tell stories of the mountains, they said they caught eagles. Who's Greywing? Blue Whisker asked. Before she could answer, Rocky padded from his den. The old Tom blinked at her sleepily. You want me to watch the kids while you gather herbs? Mothlight hesitated. Her stores had been low since Windscar's sickness. She ought to restock them. But in the days since she'd returned from the Moonstones, she'd felt a desperate need to be near her kits. Rocky stared at her. Yesterday you said you needed to fetch more catmint. Rocky only has one mind. He's like, alright, she needs to go get me catmint now. What if I need that to get high? You said your store was slow. Honeypelt interrupted. Can I have a badger ride? He leaped from the tussocks and landed on Mothlight's shoulders. She staggered, struggling to keep her balance. Rocky padded closer. I can do badger rides. Bubbling Stream bounded towards him. Me first! Mothlight padded forward. Honeypelt wobbling on her back. Her thoughts drifted and unease twisted beneath her pelt. Windstar had nearly died. Spiderpaw had nearly drowned. Torn between the needs of her clan and the needs of her kits, Mothflight felt herself veering between indecision and panic. She wasn't being the best medicine cat she could be. Her medicine cat duties threatened her kit's safety. Her duties as a mother threatened the good of her clan. How could she give her full attention to both? I'm a medicine cat. Half Moon's words rang in her mind again and again. This is your destiny, whether you want it or not. You have no choice but to follow it. Every clan's destiny depends on you. Rocky gazed at Mothflight questioningly.
Are you gonna collect turps?
Mothflight winced as Honeypelt dug in his tiny claws. Tomorrow, she told Rocky, I want to spend today with my kits. Mothflight followed Pebbleheart through the tunnel. Cloudspots padded behind him. The scents of acorn fur and dapplepelt hung in the chilly air. They must be waiting for us, Mothflight murmured, half to herself. Pebbleheart's tail stirred in the air ahead. Smells like they've just passed this way. Cloudspot's mew echoed against the damp stone.
I hope the clouds clear soon. The moon is rising.
Fresh scents swirled around Mothflight's muzzle as the tunnel opened into the cave. In the watery light, she could just make out Acornfur and Dapplepelt, sitting beside the moonstone. Dapplepelt's face was raised towards the hole in the roof. Cloud shielded the stars. No moonlight tonight, Dapplepelt murmured. Cloudspots padded to the moonstone and settled beside Acornfur.
The clouds might still clear.
Not before the moon passes. Dapplepelt turned to face him. How will we share with StarClan? Perhaps they don't want to share tonight. Acornfur sniffed. That's why they sent clouds. Mothflight padded across the cold stone and sat down a little way from the others. Her heart felt heavy. Her paws worry. She'd spent the whole journey praying that the sky would clear. She needed to share with StarClan. Half Moon, help me. Reef tugged at her belly. Pebbleheart padded to her side and sat down. StarClan has shared enough this moon. Dehydrate? What the heck? I will dehydrate. I have coffee. Oh, I guess Tall Shadow also has her first name is Tall. Acornfur tipped her ears towards him. Did they give Tall Shadow 9 lives? Pebbleheart nodded. She's Shadow Star now. Her Dappletail swished over the rock. River Ripple is River Star. Thunder is Thunderstar.
Oh, Thunder is Thunderstar,
Cloudspots told them. He glanced at Acornfur.
What name did they give Clear Sky?
Skystar. Acornfur's tail swished over the stone. I was so scared when I saw how much pain each life caused. I don't know how Riverstar stayed on his paws, Dapplepelt admitted. Mothflight gazed blankly at the moonstone, only half listening. She wanted to reach out and touch the stone. Perhaps StarClan would share even without moonlight. Did they really heal Windstar's leg? Mothflight suddenly... Oh my god. I gave him the cutie voice.
Did they really heal Windstar's leg?
Mothflight suddenly realized Cloudspots was speaking to her. She shook out her pelt, trying to focus. Hydrate! You dehydrated me and now you hydrate me? I believe that. She shook out her pelt, trying to focus. It's like it was never broken. I wish I could bring Sun Shadow here, Pebbleheart commented sadly. Mothflight jerked her muzzle towards him. He's had red cough, Pebbleheart told her. He's over the worst of it, but he's taking a while to get his strength back. Dapplepelt leaned forward. Do you think the moonstones heal any cat? Mothflight stared at the rock, surprised how dull it was without moonlight. The moonstone doesn't do anything except let us share with StarClan. It's StarClan that heals. Acornfur dipped her head. Then let's pray they heal Sun Shadow. Cloudspots and Dapplepelt murmured in agreement. Pebbleheart glanced at Mothflight. How's the rest of your clan? Have they recovered from their battle injuries? Stormpelt's ear tip will always be torn, Mothflight told him, but I think he's secretly proud of his scars. Acorn first snorted. Redclaw's the same. He asked me not to treat the scratch on his muzzle. I told him not to be silly. What if it got infected? She purred suddenly, her eyes glistening with affection. I didn't realize Redclaw was such a kind cat. He's changed since the battle. I think making peace with Willowtail has softened him.
Thanks, Camion.
Acornfur looked away shyly. Oh, wait, sorry. A teasing glint flashed in Dapplepelt's gaze. You sound like you're in love. Acornfur looked away shyly. We have been getting close, she admitted. We've even talked about sharing a nest. Cloudspot purred.
Looks like Mothflight won't be the only medicine cat with kits.
No! Mothflight stiffened, surprised at the harshness of her mew. Pebbleheart blinked at her. Dapplepelt and Cloudspots narrowed their eyes. What's wrong? Acornfur tipped her head uneasily. Mothflight's throat tightened. Grief swelled in her chest. Are you worried I'll lose him like you lost Micah? Acornfur pressed. You were unlucky. Not all relationships end like that. I mean, I'm sorry yours did, but it doesn't mean Redclaw will. Mothflight glared at her. You don't understand. The walls echoed the sharpness in her voice. The fear and uncertainty that had nagged her at her since Windstar had been hurt hit her like an icy blast of wind. She gripped the stone with her claws, bracing herself against the emotions sweeping over her. No medicine cat should have kits. They shouldn't even take a mate. Acornfur stared at her. But you did. Mothflight's mouth dried as she gazed back at the SkyClan cat. I was wrong. Her mew cracked. What do you mean? Pebbleheart's eyes rounded with worry. I can't be a mother and a medicine cat. Mothflight sobbed. Spiderpaw nearly drowned. I pulled him from the river. He wasn't breathing. She stared at the others wildly. I was so scared I didn't know what to do. A medicine cat can't be like that. But you saved him, Pebbleheart pointed out. Micah saved him, Mothflight confessed. He spoke to me and told me what to do. I was frozen with terror. If Micah hadn't told me what to do, I would have watched my kit die. Her flanks heaved as her breathing quickened. She felt Pebbleheart's tail smoothing her spiked fur, but she went on. I spent half my time terrified that my kits might die while I'm looking after my clan, and the other half terrified my clanmates might die while I'm looking after my kits. StarClan sent me a sign that led me to save Windstar, but what if they'd sent it earlier, while I was rescuing Spiderpaw? I would have missed it! Windstar could have been dead, and we'd have never discovered that leaders should have 9 lives. Cloudspot lifted his chin.
StarClan would have sent you another sign. They'd have made sure you saw it.
You don't know that! We can't risk it! Mothflight's eyes grew hot as she glared at Acornfur. You can't have kits with Redclaw. You mustn't even share his nest. You must live only for your clan. It's the only way to stay strong. Acornfur's eyes flashed angrily in the darkness. That's easy for you to say. You've had a mate. You've got kids. Mothflight shifted her paws, the stone walls pressing in around her. I can't do it anymore. Pebbleheart stiffened beside her. Are you gonna stop being a medicine cat? No. Mothflight gasped as sorrow plunged thorn-sharp claws deep into her heart. Being a medicine cat is my destiny. It's what I was always supposed to do. But the clans depend on me. Halfman told me. Pebbleheart's eyes glowed darkly in the half-light. What are you gonna do? The earth seemed to tremble beneath Mothflight's paws. The pain she'd felt at Micah's death seemed to open in her chest, pouring out grief sharper than any she could imagine. I'm gonna give up my kits. What the? Nani? 2 more chapters. I mean, I guess at this point it's more like... I mean, she doesn't have to, like, give them up. Unless she means, like, emotionally give them up? I'm confused. I guess we'll find out. Chapter 36.
The oaks are so big!
Honeypelt's breathless mew echoed across the shadowy trees clearing. He gazed up through the branches. The sky was turning purple as the sun sank below the distant horizon. Stars began to show, glimmering among the leaves. Blue Whiskered huddled closer to Mothflight.
Can we go home now?
Mothflight's throat tightened. Words dried on her tongue. She couldn't answer. Instead, she called to Spiderpaw, who was scrambling over an ancient oat root. Stay close. He glanced over his shoulder.
But I want to explore!
Honeypelt marched towards his brother, Bubbling Stream at its heels.
Mothlight said to come back.
Blue Whisker started to shiver.
I'm cold.
It won't be long now. Mothlight scanned the slopes of the 4 trees hollow. Were they coming? Pebbleheart, Dapplepelt, Acornfur, and Cloudspots had arranged everything. They'd spoken to their leaders and brought news that... Oh my god, what? Sorry. That's crazy! So I'm like briefly in shock. What do you mean? They'd spoken to their leaders and brought news that each clan would accept one of Mothflight's kits. Jesus Christ. I guess that's why they need to be 5 clans, because one can't have the babies in them. Jesus. Who's gonna be their mommy? Thunder is like, bruh, I've been there. Or Thunder. Where's Greywing when you need him, huh? You need Greywing back.
Are you sure you don't want them to stay together?
Oh wait, sorry. Cat Dad, come back. Are you sure you don't want them to stay together? Acornfur had asked when she'd visited the Windcan camp the day before. True. No. Mothflight had been certain. I want one kit to go to each clan. Shouldn't you give them the choice, though? They're gonna be so alone! Oh my god, these poor babies. She hadn't explained more. She knew she was doing the right thing. But if they stay together, they'll be able to look after each other. Acornfur had reasoned. I'm sure their new clan will look after them well enough. Mothflight hadn't met Acornfur's gaze. It was hard enough to stop her mew from trembling. Acornfur didn't press her. Clear Sky and Starflower are thrilled to be taking Honeypelt. They still miss Tiny Branch, and Honeypelt will be a comfort to them. Aww. He's getting adopted into the leader's family. I like how they already kin assigned which cat will go where. Is Bubbling Stream gonna go with River Clan? That'd be hilarious. Or, okay, do you think Spiderpaw will... Okay, here's my assignment. Since we got Honeypelt in in Sky Clan, Bubbling Stream could be in River Clan, but Spiderpaw could also be in River Clan. But I don't think his mom would, like, give him to the cats that, like, he briefly almost drowned there, so maybe he won't like it. Unless it's, like, the other way around, where it's kind of like, well, better learn how to swim, boy. Better learn how to swim. Which leaves, who's the other one? Something Heart? Hold on one second. The door is being knocked. I'm back. Blue Whisker. Blue Whisker. Blue Whisker gotta be Thunder Clan. I mean, Blue Star, Blue Whisker. I mean, I know it isn't her, but if Spider-Pod doesn't go to River Clan, he's going to Shadow Clan because he's a spider. Bubbling Stream, River, and then Honeypelt, Sky. Okay, that's my kin assignment. Let's see.
Moth flight.
Blue Whisker's mew jerked her back to the moment. The she-kit was gazing through the branches. Her white and yellow pelt glowed in the dusky light.
Is that where Star Clan lives? In the sky?
A new star is born each time a cat dies, Mothflight explained.
Which one is Micah?
Blue Whisker narrowed her eyes, straining to see through the leaves. I'm not sure. Mothflight's mew thickened. But he's up there, watching you.
Really?
Blue Whisker blinked at her hopefully. Mothflight touched her muzzle to the yellow and white kit's head. Really?
Get out of the way!
Bubbling Stream's cross mew rang across the clearing. She was trying to pull herself onto the gnarled oat root beside her brothers. Mothflight gazed at them desperately. They were so small, their pelts like pale thistledown against the bark. Come here, she called. I need to speak to you. Honeypelt leaped from the root and charged towards her. He must have heard the fear in her mew.
What's wrong?
Spiderpaw raced after him.
Are we going home now?
Bubbling Stream dropped to the ground and hurried behind them.
Why did you bring us here?
Mothflight nosed Blue Whisker away from her flank. Stand beside your litter mates. She gazed at her kits as they lined up in front of her, their eyes wide with excitement. I have to tell you something important. One day you will gather the scattered petals of the blazing star. Not yet. Micah's words burned in her mind. She remembered the stories her mother used to tell of the blazing star prophecy, which had separated the cats into clans. You will gather the scattered petals. She was destined to bring the clans together. One flower made of 5 petals, just like the blazing star flower. But not yet. She would bring the petals together, but first she must scatter them. Her bloodline must flow into each clan. Dang. That's deep. Why her? I guess it just doesn't matter. It's just randomly her. She blinked solemnly at her kits. The leaders of the clans are coming here together. Coming here tonight.
Why?
Spiderpaw pricked his ears. Blue Whisker shrank back.
Do we have to meet them?
Mothflight didn't answer. She forced herself to go on. They are coming here to meet you. They want you to live. They want you to go live with them as part of their clans. Each of you will go to a different clan. Bubbling Stream stuck out her muzzle.
I'm not going anywhere.
Mothflight steadied her breath. You will be well cared for, and your new clan will be your home from now on. Blue Whisker's eyes clouded with terror.
I don't want to go. Are you giving us away?
Spiderpaw looked confused. Bubbling Stream frowned.
Did we do something wrong?
No! Mothflight's heart seemed to crack. She began to tremble. I love you so much, but it has to be this way. Honeypelt's gaze grew hard.
No, it doesn't.
You want it this way. Mothflight swallowed. Yes, she admitted softly, but not because I don't want you. It's because you are special. Spiderpaw growled.
So special you have to get rid of us.
Micah, help me. Mothflight glanced up desperately. Why do I have to do this alone? She straightened, determined to be strong. Your father spoke to me, she began. He told me that one day I would gather the scattered petals of the blazing star.
What's that got to do with us?
Spiderpaw demanded angrily. You are the petals, Mothflight told him. Long before you were born, the spirit cats came into this clearing.
Spirit cats?
Bubbling Stream looked anxiously over her shoulder.
Are they with us now?
Blue Whisker blinked into the shadows. We're alone, Mothflight soothed. But they used to come here, before I found the Moonstone, before the clans existed. It was the spirit cats who told us to split into 5 clans, like the petals of the blazing star flower. The cats had grown jealous. They all wanted land. They fought over who owned the forest and the moor. Many died, so we divided the land fairly among us and became the clans.
But the clans still fight each other,
Spider-Paw pointed out.
That's how Windstar got hurt.
Mothflight nodded. That is why you must each join a clan. You are littermates. Your bond is strong. One day when you are grown up, that bond will make the clans into one family once more. You are the petals of the blazing star. Honeypelt narrowed his eyes thoughtfully.
So we won't fight anymore?
Exactly. Pride warmed Mothflight's pelt. Bubbling Stream looked unconvinced.
Why do we have to join the new clan? Why can't Stormpelt and Eagle Feather and Dunos?
Spiderpaw glanced at his sister.
'Cause we're special.
Blue Whiskers stared at Mothflight. I don't want to be special. Mothflight hesitated. Her mind whirled back to the moor all those moons ago. She remembered her father's words. Dustmuzzle will make a fine hunter one day, but Mothflight is special. How little she'd understood. She thrust her muzzle close to Blue Whisker, her heart twisting. I need you to be brave, little one. I'm asking you to do something very hard. I know you're scared, but you will be safe. ThunderClan cats are kind. Ha! Blue Whisker! ThunderClan. Oh. Okay, I got it. I got one right, okay. You'll love the forest. It's full of beautiful plants, and it's warmer than the moor. The wind whispers high in the trees, so you'll never feel lonely. And the clans will raise you as its own.
But I want you to raise me.
Blue Whisker's breath warmed Mothflight's cheek. The pain in her heart was almost too much to bear, but she forced herself not to tremble.
Honeypelt nosed between them. Come on, Blue Whisker. It'll be exciting. You'll see Mothflight at gatherings, and the rest of us won't be far.
He looked at Mothflight.
Which clan will I go to?
Sky Clan, Mothflight told him.
You see?
Honeypelt blinked at Blue Whisker.
I'll be living in the same forest as you. And Bubbling Streamer Spiderpaw will be River Clan.
Spiderpaw is going to live with River Clan. Okay. I won't take the win. Okay. I know that I thought it was funny by assuming Spiderpaw would be River Clan. But it technically wasn't a win. I did think it. I'm going to give myself half points, okay? 2.5 out of 4, because I did highly consider it. I said they could. But I didn't do that with Bubbling Stream. I guess it was 2. You're going to learn how to swim, or else. Spiderpaw's gonna live with RiverClan, Mothflight told him. Spiderpaw's eyes widened with horror.
I'll have to eat fish and swim!
Honeypelt nudged him.
Hi, Nana!
Sorry, oh my god, wait.
Hi, Hikin!
I was half reading your message.
Bye, Catty!
Bye, Catty. Hello, Hikin. Honeypelt nudged him. At least next time you fall in the river, you won't half drown. Spiderpaw tipped his head thoughtfully. He's like considering it. He's like, I guess you're right. Mothflight was still watching Blue Whisker. She had guessed that her shyest kit would take it the hardest, but Blue Whisker's eyes were sparkling with curiosity.
Do ThunderClan cats climb trees?
I don't know, Mothflight confessed. Blue Whisker's gaze drifted upwards.
I've always wondered what it's like to look down on everything, like a bird.
Honeypelt flicked his tail encouragingly. I bet Thunderstar's always climbing trees. It's probably the first thing he'll teach you.
Hayagami!
Bubbling Stream was staring at the slope, where darkness shadowed the forest, swallowed the forest. I'll be going to Shadow Clan, she sounded uncertain. Mothflight's thoughts flickered back to the moon she'd spent there. It's peaceful in the pine forest, and Juniper Branch's kits are only 2 moons older than you. You'll have someone to play with.
You'll have to eat frogs,
Spiderpaw snorted.
That's even worse than fish.
Bubbling Stream ignored him.
Are Shadow Clan kids allowed out of camp? They're probably allowed to roam anywhere they like.
Honeypelt told her. Buzzards can't hunt in forests. Mothflight blinked at him gratefully. He sounded so much like his father. So optimistic and ready to take on any challenge. She purred. I'll miss you all so much. Blue Whisker brushed her muzzle along Mothflight's jaw. Spiderpaw weaved between her legs. Bubbling Stream clambered onto her back.
One last badger ride!
Mothflight began to lumber heavily across the clearing, making Bubbling Stream sway on her shoulders until the kit mewled with delight. Honeypelt trotted beside her.
Skystar's the bravest leader, isn't he?
Mothflight glanced at him, trying not to imagine what sort of guardian Skystar would be. He's the most confident, she conceded.
Honeypelt whisked his tail. I wonder what forest prey tastes like.
Better than fish, Spiderpaw muttered. Fish tastes great. Mothflight halted and blinked at him. You'll love it.
Mothflight?
Blue Whisker's anxious mew made her stiffen. The kit was staring at the far slope. Mothflight followed her gaze. The break-in stirred as a shape moved through it. She shook Bubbling Stream from her shoulders, opening her mouth and tasting the familiar scent of RiverClan. The stems swished as RiverClan padded into the clearing. Spiderpaw pressed against her. I don't want to go. It'll be all right. Mothflight lifted her chin to greet the RiverClan cat. RiverClan leader, thank you for coming. Riverstar dipped his head. I'm honored that you trust RiverClan to care for one of your kits. As he spoke, paw steps thrummed the slope behind. Mothflight looked up as Thunderstar bounded into the clearing. He scrambled into a halt beside Riverstar. Hi! Thunder, why are you such a kid? Hi! His gaze swept the kits, glowing with surprise. They look so much like Micah. Before Mothflight could answer, more paw steps sounded as Shadowstar followed Skystar into the clearing. Blue Whisker ducked beneath Mothflight's belly. Bubbling Stream backed away. This must be very hard for all of you. Shadowstar stopped in front of Mothflight, her gaze solemn. Honeypelt stepped forward, meeting her gaze.
We're not scared.
Skystar purred. I can't imagine any kid of Micah's being scared. Bubbling Stream tipped her head. Blue Whisker crept from beneath Mothflight. Spiderpaw lifted his muzzle. Thunderstar blinked at them. Which one's Blue Whisker?
I am.
Blue Whisker mewed. Blue Whisker's mew was hardly more than a whisper. She padded slowly forward and stopped in front of the ThunderClan leader. Mothflight could see her trying not to tremble. Violet Dawn has made a nest. Are all the leaders adopting them as their own baby?
This is my baby now.
You are my baby.
I've never slept by myself.
Blue Whisker whispered. Then you can share a nest with Milkweed's kits. Thunderstar's mew was gentle. They're not much older than you. Although Milkweed says they fidget like rabbits in a burrow.
Bubbling Spring.
Have I been reading his name wrong this whole time? Hold on. No, okay. Holy. They've misspelled Bubbling Stream's name. I thought my dyslexia made me insane for a second. They said Bubbling Spring fidgets too. But it's Bubbling Stream. It's Bubbling Stream. Okay. Jesus. Scare me to death.
Bubbling Stream fidgets too, Blue Whisker murmured, so I won't mind.
Thunderstar pointed his nose towards the forest. Are you ready to leave? Blue Whisker glanced back at Mothflight, her eyes glistening.
Can I stay with you, please?
Mothflight hurried forward and pressed her nose into the kit's soft fur. Blue Whisker's warm scent filled her nose. She fought the urge to scoop her close and never let go. You must go, she croaked. ThunderClan needs you. Blue Whisker turned away, her tail down, and began to follow Thunderstar from the clearing. Bubbling Stream padded towards Shadowstar.
I'm supposed to come with you.
Shadowstar blinked at her. You must be Bubbling Stream.
I'm not eating frogs,
Bubbling Stream told her bluntly. Shadowstar's eyes flashed with surprise. Okay. Bubbling Stream glanced at Mothflight.
Will you come and visit?
Of course! Mothflight hurried and pressed her muzzle against Bubbling Stream's. Bubbling Stream drew away and stared at Mothflight. Anxiety darkened the kit's eyes, but she blinked it away.
See you soon then.
She patted down the slope. Shadowstar nodded to Mothflight. We'll take care of her like she's one of our own. Mothflight dipped her head, unable to speak. Blue Whisker and Thunderstar had vanished over the top of the slope as Shadowstar turned away. At the edge of the clearing, Bubbling Stream nosed her way into the break-in. Riverstar glanced from Honeypelt to Spiderpaw. Which one comes with me? His mew was brisk. Honeypelt glanced at his brother. Spiderpaw was staring at the Rivercon leader as though Riverstar were a hawk circling prey. Riverstar swished his tail enticingly. The cats of Riverclan are looking forward to meeting their new clanmate. Spiderpaw edged forward. I'm coming with you, he murmured. Riverstar blinked at him. You look like you'll make a good swimmer. You have broad shoulders and wide paws. He nodded towards Spiderpaw's extra claw.
Oh yeah, because he has the extra toes.
The fish are slippery. That claw will make them easier to catch. Spiderpaw glanced down.
I nearly drowned once.
Riverstar snorted. That's because you didn't have the right swimming coach. He began to head towards the slope. I haven't lost an apprentice yet. You're in safe paws. Spiderpaw blinked at Mothflight.
Do I really have to go?
Mothflight leaned forward, pressing her muzzle against his head. It's your destiny, she whispered. Don't be afraid. StarClan is watching over you.
I want to be your kit, not RiverClan's,
Spiderpaw whispered. Mothflight met his gaze. You'll always be my kit. The words caught in her throat as she looked away. And she looked away as her gaze clouded. When she looked back, Spiderpaw was hurrying after Riverstar. Skystar padded forward. He dipped his head to Honeypelt. Are you ready to join SkyClan?
Yes!
Honeypelt lifted his chin. They've specifically picked Honeypelt. They're like, okay, Honeypelt is definitely going with you. Skystar glanced at Mothflight. Are you ready? Compassion filled his gaze. Mothflight reached for words, but could only stare back, her heart breaking. Honeypelt touched his nose to her cheek.
I know you have no choice, he whispered. If this is StarClan's wish, then I'm happy to go.
Your father would be as proud of you as I am, Mothflight croaked.
Don't be sad.
Honeypelt pressed his muzzle deeper.
We'll be fine.
As he drew away, Mothflight felt cold air touch the fur his breath had warmed. She watched numbly as Honeypelt padded after Skystar. Goodbye, she murmured under her breath. You've done the right thing. Micah's mew touched her ear, fur as light as the evening breeze. Have I? She whispered. You have changed the destiny of the clans. Micah's voice was clear now. She wondered if Skystar and Honeypelt could hear it as they climbed the slope towards the forest, but neither cat looked back. Micah went on. You were always braver and smarter than you thought. It's one of the reasons I loved you, and why I still miss you. But you have so much left to do. Making decisions is easy. Living with them is the true test of courage. Only by being true to yourself and becoming the medicine cat you dreamed of will you learn how truly special you are. Mothflight looked up, staring past the branches to the sky beyond. The stars flashed like flecks of sunlight on rippling water, brighter than she'd ever seen them and too many to count. I will do my best, she promised. I will always do my best. Chapter 37.
The final chapter! Let's go!
Mothflight fluffed out her fur against the chilly air of the Moonstone Cavern and looked up. Stars glittered beyond the hole in the roof. Moonlight spilled over the rim. As she waited for it to reach the Moonstone, she listened to the other medicine cats talk. I'm glad the clouds have cleared in time, Pebbleheart mewed. Clouds never last long when it's breezy, Dapplepelt answered. The wind's been tugging at my whiskers all day. Brought down the first fall of leaves in the forest, Cloudspots told them. Acornfur shivered. I'm not ready for Leaf Bear. That's a few moons away yet, Pebbleheart reassured her. Mothlight's thoughts drifted from their idle chatter, her mind shifting through everything they'd told her on her journey here. In the moon since she'd given Honeypelt Bubbling Stream, Blue Whisker, and Spiderpaw away, her heart had felt like a heavy, cracked stone in her chest. She'd curled in her empty nest each night, feeling their absence in the cold moss around her, and each morning she'd awoke expecting to feel their soft pelts nestling against her, but feeling nothing but the twitching of her own paws. "How's Blue Whisker?" she'd asked Cloudspots as she met him at the WindClan border. Cloudspots had told her that Blue Whisker was eating well and had made friends already with Milkweed's kits.
She and Shivering Rose are inseparable.
Aw. Acornfur had purred as she told Mothflight that Honeypelt was following Skystar around camp, asking endless questions. "Skystar enjoys it," the chestnut she-cat had reassured her. His eyes light up whenever Honeypelt darts in front of him, begging to know something new. He seems impressed by Honeypelt's eagerness to learn. "How's Bubbling Stream?" Mothflight had asked Pebbleheart as they'd crossed a dusky meadow. "She's leading Dangling Leaf, Dusknose, and Shadepelt on expeditions outside camp." Mothflight's belly had tightened with worry. Are they safe in the forest by themselves? "Someone always tracks them," Pebbleheart had promised her. Alcier followed them through a nettle patch yesterday. They all came home with stung noses and pads. Mothflight's heart had quickened with alarm. "Is Bubbling Stream all right?" "I had plenty of fresh stock in my store," Pebbleheart had told her gently. "Besides, every kit gets stung eventually." Mouseear should have known better than to walk through a nettle patch, but he said he didn't want to let them out of his sight. Mothflight had felt reassured and hurried to catch up with Dapplepelt. "Is Spiderpaw settling into RiverClan?" "He can swim already." There was a hint of pride in Dapplepelt's mew. "Not by himself, surely?" Alarm flashed through Mothflight's pelt. "Kits never swim by themselves," Dapplepelt promised her, "not until they're strong enough to ride the currents." Mothflight's thoughts had flashed back to her swim with Spiderpaw. She'd felt helpless against the buffeting of the water. She couldn't imagine Spiderpaw ever being strong enough to survive it. "I'll be swimming like a fish before long." Dapplepelt must have guessed Mothflight's anxiety. "It's just like running through a gale." She glanced sideways. "You've never been knocked off your pods by the wind, have you?" "No." Mothflight had been unconvinced, but she had to trust RiverClan. Dapplepelt gently changed the subject. "Drizzle and Pine Needle think Spiderpaw's great. He's been teaching them how to play moss ball. He's a great jumper. Drizzle can never get the moss past him." Mothflight pictured Spiderpaw now as she gazed at the moonstone. She could imagine him charging around the RiverClan camp as he'd done in the hollow. Her heart ached. Did her kits miss her? They sounded happy in their new homes. Happier than with me? Guilt prickled her paws. She wanted them to be happy, and yet she hoped they still kept a place for her in their hearts. Acornfur's mew cut through her thoughts. "I wonder if StarClan has anything important to share with us." Mothflight shifted her paws uneasily. Had they known she would give her kits away? Had she done the right thing? Guilt hollowed her belly. The moonstone flared. Mothflight flinched, slitting her eyes as light blanched the cave. Countless stars seemed to blaze before her face. Leaning forward, she touched her nose to the glittering stone. The floor shifted beneath her paws. Her heart lurched as she felt herself swept sideways, whirling dizzyingly until suddenly she felt soft pasture beneath her paws. She opened her eyes into the half-light of the evening. Pebbleheart, Dapplepelt, and Cloudspots and Acornfur stood nearby, blinking at the rolling meadows and distant forests. They were in StarClan's hunting grounds on the breeze-blown hilltop, grass rippling around their paws. Above them, a purple sky deepened into black as it stretched towards the distant horizon. She gazed at it, the stars blurring as she stared at them. They began to swirl like a flock of shimmering birds spinning towards the ground. Pebbleheart lifted his chin, his eyes wide with wonder. Dapplepelt's fur prickled along her spine. Acornfur backed away as the stars circled closer. Mothflight narrowed her eyes against the brightness as the grass sparkled. and the stars slowed, coming to rest on the hilltop around them. Blinking, she saw the light fade until she could make out the shapes of the StarClan cats. Half Moon stepped from among them, her white pelt glistening. She stopped in front of Mothflight and dipped her head. Mothflight tensed, trying to glimpse the expression in the StarClan cat's dark green gaze. I scattered the petals of the blazing star, just as Micah told me. She knew what she wanted to say. She had given away her kits, and she wanted to tell StarClan that it was the only thing she could have done. But the word she'd planned stalled on her tongue. I had to, she blurted as Half Moon met her gaze. We know. Half Moon stared at her steadily. You made the right choice. Mothlight glanced beyond the white she-cat, hoping to glimpse Micah. He'd given his blessing to send their kits to new homes, but she wanted to see him. She needed to read his gaze and truly know that he had understood. Before she could spot him, Half Moon spoke again. Your greatest loyalty must always be to StarClan and your clanmates. Her gaze flickered to Acorn Fur. The only way to ensure this is for you all to promise never to take mates or have kids. Acorn Fur's eyes flashed indignantly. That's not fair. I can be loyal to you and my clanmates and a mate and kids. Half Moon didn't answer. I can! Acorn Fur insisted. The starry she-cat padded forward. Snow-white fur flecked her gray muzzle. How do you know what it's like to be a mother? She challenged Acorn Fur, her eyes flashing. Acorn Fur snorted. I've seen Starflower with her kits. It's not hard. Oof. The old she-cat's tail twitched crossly. I am Quiet Rain, mother of Greywing, Clear Sky, and Jagged Peak. I stayed behind in the mountains when they left the tribe. My heart cried out for them every day they were gone. Mothflight shivered. Will grief torture me forever? Quiet Rain went on. My need was so strong that I spent my final days crossing unknown lands to see them. Only when I was sure that they were safe in their new home I could give in to the sickness that made every step heavy with pain. Acorn Fur stared at her. I'm not you. My kids will stay near me. I won't have to worry about them. Quiet Rain gave a hollow purr. Do you really believe that you'll be able to ignore their cries to treat an injured clanmate? She swung her head towards Mothflight accusingly. Haven't you warned this foolish cat? She's not foolish. Mothflight stepped closer to Acorn Fur. I thought I could be a mother and a medicine cat too. I had to experience it before I realized how impossible it was to give my heart over twice. She blinked at Acorn Fur. You must make your choice now, before you have kids. You mustn't ever face the choice I faced. It will break your heart. Her eyes prickled with sadness. Choose now. Either care for your clan or take a mate. You can't do both. Pebbleheart swished his tail. What about us? He nodded towards Cloud Spots. We can't be mothers. Half Moon tipped her head. But you can be fathers. Do you think a father loves his kids any less? Greywing slid from among his clanmates. Pebbleheart. He mewed gently. Greywing! Each medicine cat must take the same choice. Live like an ordinary clan cat, and take a mate. Raise a family if you like. But if you do, renounce your medicine cat duties. Half Moon's gaze flitted around the medicine cats. We brought you closer to us than any of your clanmates. One day your clan may depend on what we share with you. We need to know you will hear us. If you don't, who will suffer? Pebbleheart's eyes darkened. Our clan. Half Moon nodded, then choose. Pebbleheart shifted his paws. I didn't mean to make that then choose so mean. I meant to be... It was like the... Did you put your name in the goblet of fire, Heavy? Half Moon nodded, then choose. Pebbleheart shifted his paws, his gaze lingering on Half Moon for a moment. Then he spoke. My greatest loyalty will always be with StarClan and my clanmates. Half Moon's ears twitched. Do you agree that you will never take a mate or have kids? Pebbleheart nodded. Half Moon's gaze flickered to Cloud Spot's questioningly. The ThunderClan medicine cat dipped his head.
Me too.
And me.
Dapplepelt gazed solemnly at Half Moon. Quiet Rain was staring at Acorn Fur.
And you? Have you decided which you will choose?
Acorn Fur glanced around anxiously. She caught Mothflight's eye hopefully, as though hoping for advice. Mothflight lowered her gaze. You must decide for yourself. Acorn Fur shifted beside her. Okay, she mewed. If I must choose, I choose StarClan. Quiet Rain narrowed her eyes sharply. Are you certain? Acorn Fur lifted her chin. I'm certain. Relief washed Mothflight's pelt. She knew how hard Acorn Fur's decision must have been. She thought, with a rush of love, of her first moon with Micah. The memories still warmed her. She couldn't imagine her life never having known such love. Or worse, having known it but knowing she must refuse it. Softly, she pressed against Acorn Fur. Tending to your clan will give you all the joy and warmth and love that you need, she murmured, hoping it was true. Give your heart to them.
What was the... There was, in one of the books, I feel like there was someone who was like...
One of the medicine cats, or like someone was talking to the medicine cats and was like, does it suck to not be able to be a mom or something like that? And then I feel like one of them said like, I'm the mother to the whole clan kind of thing. Like they're all my kids. I don't know. I feel like that was a quote at some point, but maybe I'm making that up. Maybe it was like a vague sentiment or a feeling. Okay, stop reading and there's like one paragraph left. My bad. Softly, she pressed against Acorn Fur. Tending to your clan will give you all the joy and warmth and love that you need, she murmured, hoping it was true. Give your heart to them. She blinked at Half Moon. It must always be this way. Half Moon nodded. In the future, medicine cats may never take a mate. They must never have kids. Greywing swished his tail. Their loyalty will rest only with StarClan and their clanmates. Around them, StarClan murmured with approval, their mews echoing beneath the starless sky. Watching them, Mothflight caught sight of Micah at last. His gaze was fixed on her, brimming with affection. She returned it, her heart twisting with sorrow. I'm sorry, my love. While I live, I must give you up. She had sent her kits away so she could be the best medicine cat she could be. She couldn't share dreams with Micah anymore. Her dreams belonged to Isn't Micah StarClan, though? She can still share dreams with him. I mean, Firestar did that with Spotted Leaf. And that was, like, questionable. Her dreams belong to StarClan now. Every hair in her pelt, every beat of her heart, every breath belonged to them. This is funny. Okay, the end! But this is so... If you, like, when you read this and you think about all the medicine cats after that, Moth Wing being a big one, she does not belong to StarClan. Jayfeather would cackle. I think he would scoff at the thought of belonging to StarClan. He had that like moment where he's like, bruh, I'm stronger than you guys. Spotted Leaf and Firestar had their like weird little dead fling. Did we learn what the Shadowlands are? Hell? The Dark Forest? Hell? That is hell? Cat hell? Okay, there's a turn the page for an exclusive manga adventure. Okay, this is an exclusive manga adventure. You guys can't see it, so I'm gonna describe it. Cat Heel. My name is Mothflight. I'm a healer, a medicine cat. I've been helping my fellow cats for a long time. Many, many moons.
Here, now that ought to feel better.
It's a picture of her face.
Now and then I wonder if it's been too long. How's your pain?
It's better, Mothflight, thank you. Mothflight is leaning over a cat who has a broken leg, and there's a stick in the cat's broken leg as like a little sling.
Hi, Lydia! Welcome!
I'm reading the bonus exclusive manga at the end of Mothflight's vision, but I'm describing it because it's a manga.
Thank you!
Okay, as she says this, we can tell that she's a girl because she has eyelashes, by the way. There's another cat kind of near them. He's sad, he's scowling, unhappy. He's spotted.
Mothflight!
Somebody's running in with a twig in their mouth.
I would have thought a RiverClan cat would know better than to play on ice, Drizzle.
Oh my god, Drizzle.
You're too old to be acting like a kid. Wouldn't you say so, Black Ear?
Oh, so she's in RiverClan right now.
But Flower Stream was already out there, and it looked like such fun.
Oh, I'm staying out of this one. So either this spotted cat near him is the brother or the mate. Okay, so Mothflight is randomly in RiverClan right now.
Mothlight, I meant to ask you before, why didn't you come to the gathering last moon? Owl Song needed me. She's a bit anxious about her kitting.
Do we know an owl? Is that a new cat? I think she's like an old lady now. She has like dark circles under her eyes. Okay, this is the cat who brought the twig. He's brought the twig over and he's asking why she wasn't at the last moon. Now he's saying, "Will these do?" Wait, I'm reading it like a... Sorry. I have to remember I have to read this not like a manga, but like a comic.
Right, will these do?
They will, Spiderpaw. You chose well. Oh, so it's his... This is her son.
The next step is to strip the leaves off.
He training to be a... I don't know, actually.
That reminds me, was Blue Whisker at the gathering? Her kits must be due soon.
Blue Whisker having babies?
Oh, she was there all right. She's as fat as a badger now. But you know Blue Whisker. No way she's ever going to miss any gossip.
Aww, Blue Whisker's full of gossip now. That's just them. They're kind of like still in the clearing. Spiderpaw is now ripping leaves off of a stick.
Blue Whisker always was a chatty cat.
Was she? She was pretty shy, though.
I wonder if Blue Whisker's kits really are close. Maybe I should visit?
Oh. Looks like she's going through all the camps to check on her babies.
The ThunderClan camp is busy as usual.
I don't want to be in the way. Maybe this wasn't a good idea. She's arriving at the ThunderClan camp.
Mothflight, what timing?
I don't know who this is. Looks like a boy, though.
Mothflight, what timing? Blue Whisker's kits are coming, but our medicine cat is off collecting herbs, and we haven't been able to find him.
Oh, Cloud? So who's this?
Would you mind helping? I think it would make Blue Whisker feel much better.
All I meant to do was visit. Should it be too strange, helping my own kit have kits? But this is why I chose to give up my kits in the first place. I can't treat Blue Whisker as my kit. I have to treat her as if she's simply another cat in need, and I must help any cat in need. Oh, it's Thunder. Perfect timing. Your child is having a baby. Of course, Thunderstar. I'd be happy to help.
Thank you so much, but... well, I have to warn you. If anything, Blue Whisker's anxiety is making her talk even more than usual.
Oh, is she? Aww. Stress yapper.
Oh, that's nothing to worry about, Thunderstar. I've seen similar things with other kitting she-cats. I'm so glad you're here, Mothflight. I'm so glad you're here, Mothlight. Our medicine cat told me what to expect, but I've never done this before, and it's all strange, and I just don't know if what's happening is supposed to happen, and I...
You, fetch some wet moss. Blue Whisker, take a breath. You're doing fine. You, give her more patting under her head.
Okay, she's in a den now.
Thank you for the hydrate, clap.
Her Blue Whisker is lounging on some leaves, looking panicked. There's 2 other cats in the den that Moth Light is ordering around. My kid or not, we fall into a familiar routine. Well, familiar for me anyways. Soon Blue Whisker delivers 3 absolutely gorgeous kits. The experience tires her out so much she accidentally falls silent. I try not to show it too much, but watching my own kit give birth, seeing how beautiful her kits are. I don't know the last time I felt this happy. It's a picture of her with bright eyes and a little blush. It puts me right back in my own kitting. Makes me relive the joy I felt when Blue Whisker and her brothers and sisters arrived. But at the same time, I can't help but wonder, how much did I miss out on? How much did I never see because I chose this path? It's a picture of the 3 babies. They look like guinea pigs.
Mothlight? What? That voice! It can't be. Bubbling Stream! I can't believe it! It's so good to see you!
New child enters the scene.
But why have you come? Why now? I sensed that I should come here today. And look what I find! My sister kidding and our mother watching over her. Who would have thought?
Who would have thunk?
It's not really that strange, honestly. Not to me. But where's Honeypelt?
He's right out there. Take a look.
No. You need to get closer to the ground. That way you can get more spring in your legs, more distance out of your leap.
And there's this picture of a cat leaping across the page. So he's like shown up. I guess they're all showing up, but he's distracted by trying to teach other cats.
Typical of Honeypelt, a Sky Clan cat butting into another clan's training session and taking it over. He's so much like his father. I can practically see Micah doing that very thing himself.
Hi, Black Shinigami. Hi, King Bee.
Butting in or not, it's fantastic to see the clans cooperating. I hear Skystar treats Honeypelt like his own son, asking him for advice on hunting and fighting. True and real. That's Bubbling Stream said that. They're watching as Honeypelt leaps about. He's so handsome, grown into a fine cat just like his littermates. I wonder though, will he be as happy to see me as Bubbling Stream and Blue Whisker?
Mothlight?
He turns around.
Mothlight!
He runs towards her excitedly. Amazing, today of all days. For the first time since I sent them on their way, me and my kits together. To have all 4 of my kits close again, all at once. Oh, I guess Spiderpaw also came with them, but I didn't notice. Didn't make it very obvious.
I know it's been a while since I've seen you, but I didn't think your fur had time to get this gray. Honeypelt. Hush you. Respect your elders. He was stripping the leaves, but I didn't know he came with them to Thunder Clan. I thought he just stayed in River Clan.
And come, your sister just kidded. Come and meet the little ones. Hello, little ones. Welcome to the world. They're gorgeous, Blue Whisker. You must be so proud.
Actually, Honeypelt, since you mentioned the passing of time, I do expect to be hunting... I do expect to be hunting with Micah and StarClan very soon. In fact, I've been dreaming about it.
Dang, mentioning death as they're casually having babies being born?
But that's ridiculous.
This is Honeypelt talking. I didn't mean it about the gray fur. You've got plenty of time left. Lots of time.
Don't worry. I don't want any of you to get upset over this. I will go to StarClan a happy cat because I am so proud of you all. I know I made the right choice all those moons ago.
It's her. She's kind of blushing, looking proud, and then a moth is kind of like flying beside her face.
Mothflight, what are you looking at? What's wrong?
They're wondering why she's seeing a moth. Or she's like gazing at a moth that's beside her head, but obviously they can't see it.
I know none of my cats can see that, Moth. It's meant just for me.
Oh, she has to go follow it now. She's about to go die, I guess.
Listen closely. No mother could ever be prouder of her kids. And I want you to continue on the paths you've chosen. You hear me?
Yeah.
Stay true to your clans. Help as many cats as you can. And take good care of your kids. Love them every day. Every day.
I will. I promise.
I know this is the last time the 5 of us will ever be together like this. As I follow the moth that I'm sure StarClan has sent for me, I think my kids know that as well. I can only hope they'll understand how much I love them, how proud they've made me. But I understand now that my time here is almost finished, that I will very soon, and that very soon Micah and I will be together again. Finally.
She's wandering out of the area, following the moth. And as she follows the moth, she kind of like, there's like sparkles around her face, and there's another cat in the sparkly mist. Likely Micah. Oh, that's the end. Okay, so she's definitely wandering off to go die. Rest in peace, Mothwing. This is such a classic warrior cat style. So specifically warrior cat. It's kind of fun. 4? Technically 4? Wait, what did I say? Oh, deaths, I mean. Technically 4. Oh, I see. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'll take it. I think that's fair. Excerpt from The Apprentice Quest. Oh my gosh, guys, it's the next season. Wait, I'll read the synopsis of the next season.
For many moons, the warrior cats have lived in peace in their territories around the lake. But a dark shadow looms on the horizon. And the time has come for Alderpaw, son of ThunderClan leader Bramblestar and his deputy Squirrelflight, to shape his destiny and the fate of all the warrior clans.
Dang! They got back together! Girl went and got her actual baby. Present day warriors!
Jay Feather, Jay Feather, Jay Feather.
I don't get to be in his POV, but at least I can see him. I see him pass by and I'm like, wow, there he is, my son. And then he'll grow old and be a grumpy cat like Yellowfang, and I'll be like, nice. Honestly, okay, is this a bad take or a good take? I feel like Yellowfang was not written well in Omen of the Stars. From now on, it's all new! Oh my gosh. Exciting! Are you excited? I'm excited. Yellowfang was not written well. Yeah, they kind of botched her, to be honest. I remember getting mad at her, and I'm like, bruh. Because it was just like, I don't know, it felt really weird. Botched Yellowfang. Poor Yellowfang. You deserve better than that. They brought her because... And it's weird because, like, in Power of 3, she was good. Like, she was, like, the sarcastic, sassy cat and that like bickered with Jay Feather, like they had like a good kind of dynamic going on, but then they kind of fed into it too much. And they're like, oh yeah, everyone loves Yellow Fang and we'll bring her, but we also need her to like do all this specific stuff that isn't in her character, but that's okay. We're gonna mold her to make it work anyways. And it's like, okay. Like for her to go from Firestar's mom to whatever, I don't even know what that was. Honestly, yeah. She was like I can't even describe her. I feel like I've like kind of melted her. I just have like a gross taste in my mouth when I think about her. I think there was a warrior cat rap battle with Yellowfang and Jay Feather, and that wrote her better. That's my canon. Warrior cats rap battle Jay Feather Yellowfang. I wanna see the lyrics of it. I wanna listen to it. Where are the lyrics? Ah. Genius.com. Breeze Pelton Lion Blaze. Hold on, I gotta read this.
Hey there, little kitty cat, prepare to get taught. No more secrets you've been keeping. I'll shed some light.
Unlike your brother's blind spot, they call you a lion, man. Is that ironic? I've heard more roar from a weak-old mouse than that you can't catch, but I'm on it. I hear you need some prophecy to win fights you've picked. I'm an unrestrained tornado ready to blow. Thunder, let's go. You ain't worth S-word. I'll call you Gray for Gary. Oh, I'll call you Gary for Gary Stew. Boy, this rap is over. Save that poop you're about to spew. Lion Blaze. Now, what was that? Did I hear something? Maybe it was some blown out too soon. Who's a mount? It was some blown out son who's amounted to nothing. I don't need a prophecy to sense some daddy issues. It's not my fault Pops wanted out. Technically, your pop is the same pop, though, so it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hit as hard. Oof. We find you repulsing. They call me Lion because I'm the king of my clan and of this rap forest. You're mate of everything. You call me Gray, I'll call you Crow Food. Wait, no, that would mean crones would actually want you. Sorry, Lion Blaze. Breezepelt kind of owned that first verse, though. Oh, that's cute. You think you're all high and mighty. Step down from your pedestal, sir, and fight me correctly. It wasn't too long ago, if I can remember. Poor little lion was tricked and torn by his mother, his sister, and his mentor. The funniest part of all this is that your mother couldn't help it and chased the tail of a Wind Clan cat. Seems like the seed doesn't fall far from the tree. What a lonely life you lead. So much for the power of three. Freeze valve. Oh my god. Freeze valve winning this. Sorry. Lion Blaze. I'm just gonna go right ahead and stop you right there because you're making this too easy anyways, and it's simply unfair. You're calling me lonely. Haha, what a joke. I don't know if you recall, but Heather chose me like Blue picked Oak. Breezy, you're nothing more than a poorly written side character. I'm the main cat of the main plot. You're a sad sack that we all forgot. Step off now, Kit. You don't need to stay because the comments will be filled with the name Lion Blaze. No, sorry, dude. That was Breezepelt all the way. Sorry, Breezepelt took that. He's got to win at something in life, I guess. Okay, here's the Lion Blaze. I mean, the Jay Feather and and Yellowfang won.
Yo, it's you against me. It's Jay from the Power of Three. I'm back from the past to fix your knees and crack some fleas. Things have changed since your time. There's a new omen in order. I'm hauling all of your dusty flap to the Shadow Clan border. I'm a god among cats, true. Don't cut me short for being blind. I can go through space and time, and I can frickin' read your mind. Oh, sure, you can feel the pain of others that others feel too. Guess it sucks to know your son and May don't give a hoot about you.
He said the S word. Yellowfang laughing.
Whew, that's refreshing hearing words come out of your trap. That ain't compromised of woe is me or all your pining, whining bull poop. Cut you short, nah. You do that one on your own. Every day you sit and moan and groan and sound like a papa crow. Like crow feather. You're a sad little creeper walking dreams of the sleepers. I've got this rap so far wrapped that I've yet to be ya. Jay Feather would use the F word. You're right. Got a lesson to teach, so quiet down and listen up, hun. You might jump the clock, but I'm timeless, son. Take a minute now and take a piece of your advice. You're the reason the four clans fell into Broken Star's demise. Sorry, the next thing. You're the slutty furbag thinking you can break all Star Clan's laws. That's a lot of kitten blood running a river at your paws. Oh, is that the smoke getting the best of your senses? And I see how your disillusionment gets to your apprentices. Farmed a couple sicklies going down the very same path. You're so pitiful, StarClan had to spare them their wrath. Oh my god.
Let's see Yellowfang's reply.
Oh, please, at least I save cats. You wouldn't know what that's like. Letting that poor boy scream in terror beneath that frozen sheet of ice.
Okay, to be fair, he didn't let him. He tried to save him. That was Rock's fault.
I'm like a phoenix. I'll be rising from the ashes. No, wait. But that's a Cinderpelt line, though.
Cinderpelt rose from the ashes. I guess she's saying she's like a phoenix, she'll rise from the ashes because she did die in a fire, right? She did die in a fire.
You'll spend the rest of your life lacking class and compassion. I've got more healing power in one claw than you do in your whole body. That's not true either. Sorry. ThunderClan embraced me, loved me, while you're liked by nobody. Aww. You're in a relationship with a stick. No, that's over too. You're a gosh dang antsy prick. If you don't get your way, you have a hissy fit. Why don't you take the time to pull that stick out of your butt? Skitter off, you whiny baby. You've clearly...
I don't think so. Yeah, literally broke up with his stick. Literally broke up. I'm sorry, there was nothing. That was... Sorry, Jay Feather's second verse was too crazy. That was a little too much. That was like, he really just went too far, but in the most truest way. She can't do it. She can't. Yeah. Sorry, Yellowfang. Also, I appreciate how Pancake came back just to say Jay Feather would say worse, because that's something I would do too. I would be lurking, and then Jay Feather would be mentioned, and then I would just immediately come in and be like, yeah, me too. This is funny because it's on Genius Lyrics, so you can press on, it has like parts of the lyrics that have like the references of it. So it's like, you're the reason the four clans fell into Broken Star's demise. If I press on that, it says, Yellowfang is Broken Star's mother. Then, you're a slutty furbag thinking you can break all Star Clan's laws. Yellowfang broke a lot of the warrior code. That's a lot of kitten blood running a river at your paws. All but one of Yellowfang's kits died, and Yellowfang was accused by Broken Star to be the one who killed 2 kits. I would also go on to say that it wasn't Broken Star the one killing kits? Who's the one killing kits? Yeah. So I would also put that under the same thing. Like, if you're gonna attribute Yellowfang to Broken Star, then you would also put that under it. Also, this part, oh, it's all that smoke getting the best of your senses. Yellowfang died because she was trapped in a den filled with smoke. And I see how your disillusionment gets on your apprentices. Ah. This part of the rap was cut out of the video. So they cut off that part of it, which, yeah, that makes sense. Wow, I love Greyfeller. Anyways, we're starting the next season next week. No, wait, actually, wait, yeah, no, maybe. Actually, I don't know, because I am going away for the weekend next week. But I'm going away on Thursday? So technically, I don't know, I might be busy on the Wednesday prepping for the Thursday. Like, I might be, like, dropping my cats off or something. Yeah. Sad. That's okay, though. That's okay, though. Alright, I'm gonna go eat some food. Let's go raid into Chio, maybe. She's playing Tomodachi Life. Oh, looks like she just beat the game. But she has, oh my gosh, she has a me for me, and it's so cute. She did such a good job. I wish I could take her me of me and use it. Cause it's so cute. Ew, my voice, gross. Okay, we're gonna raid Tio. And then what are we gonna do? Tomorrow I might ask if I can stream, because me and Dun and Serin usually game on Thursday nights. I'm gonna ask if I can stream because I haven't streamed Monday, Tuesday, so I don't want to miss another stream. If I can't, then I'll stream earlier in the day, but yeah. Either it's a collab with Serin and Dun, or it's something earlier. Maybe Minecraft. I entered a new SMP. It's really chill, but I haven't technically started because there was a lot of like issues trying to get it set up. But it's like Homestead, which I think is a new mod pack that's going around, and also Cobblemon, but not really Cobblemon. Cobblemon is like secondary to it, which is kind of funny, but it's like AU where you're in a cottage in the forest, and also Pokemon just happen to be also in the world. Something like that. Okay, I'll see you guys tomorrow, hopefully, probably. I love you. Thank you for listening. Remember, oh wait, oh my gosh, guys. Okay, I can't tell you completely because I don't know if it's confirmed yet, but we might. This is special. As usual, only people on Warrior Cat Wednesdays get the extra exclusive news. But we might, guys, we might get merch. Maybe. I know! We'll see. Ah, silver! We'll see, but it's looking good. So, That's something to something to look forward to, maybe. Anyways, that was your Warrior Cat Wednesday exclusive content information. Okay, I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I love you. Please hang out with Chio. Go see my me. She'll probably show it because I'm raiding into it. And tell her that it looks really cute because it is really cute. Super cute. I think that's all what I need to say. Yeah. Remember, guys, seeing the good in things is a good thing.